I mean, very few people could ever imagine. Here we go.
I had
4,
to start smoking.
3, 2, 1, boom, and we're live. Settle on up to that microphone, young lady. How are you?
I'm good. How are you,
Great
Joe?
to see you.
It's
Always.
so great to see you too. And thanks for meeting with saying hi to my sons.
Your sons are great.
Fucking A, they are, man. And that's what I figure is my next step in the tale. My next chapter as, what's her name? The girl that everyone loves. The singer. She's real tall and skinny. God,
Taylor Swift?
Yeah, I can't remember anybody's name anymore.
There's so many people to remember.
Yeah. Well, she said she's on to her next chapter. And that's how I feel too. It's going to be about talking to women about how to raise functional sons. This is needed in America, and I'm going to step up and do it because all these tales, what with all the news and such, it's obvious to me these women have not raised their sons correctly, and I'm going to correct them because I'm tired of them yapping and fucking bitching and moaning. I'm old. I'm going to tell you what to do to raise decent sons, women.
Well, your son said something when they were doing the little tour of the studio. They saw the picture of Rosa Parks. And your son said, that's Rosa Parks. And I said, you're one of the few people that ever just pointed that out and noticed it. And he goes, of course. He goes, Roseanne's my mom. She raised me right.
Oh, that's sweet. Isn't that sweet? That's getting the, what do you call it? What did they call it? I don't know. Pat on the back.
Yeah, it is
What's
a pat
the
on the
modern
back.
vernacular? I don't know. There's some slang. I hear them. I try to stay hip, but I can't fucking do it.
Well, you obviously did a great job.
Shout out. It's a shout out.
Yes.
Yeah.
He gave you a shout out.
Yeah.
Shout out to the moms. How you holding up? Everything good with you right now?
Well, I'm smoking like a bitch. Which
How often
I
do you
hate.
smoke?
Every day.
Were you smoking before all this happened?
Oh, hell no. Well,
you just-
secretly.
Secretly.
Doug Stanhope got me back on the bastard.
You son of a bitch.
I quit for like 15 years, and Doug Stanhope snuck. Every time I see Doug, I'd smoke one. That bastard. He's got an evil spell on me.
Oh, he's an evil little man. He's sober right now. No cigarettes for him either. Yeah.
That he always says that.
No, he's doing Sober October.
Are y'all doing Sober October?
Yes.
Wow. Why didn't you ask me? I would have sobered up for it.
Would you?
No.
No, you wouldn't have done it.
No, I want to do.
Get fucked up
I want to go
October?
to Retox.
Retox instead of detox?
Yeah. That's what my boyfriend Johnny calls it. He goes, it's time to retox.
How many cigarettes are you smoking a day now?
Well, no, who's counting?
You just keep smoking them?
I'm smoking less than 10.
Less than 10's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not as good
I
as
was
0.
smoking a lot. See, I'm cutting it by 10 every week.
Oh, okay. So
next week it'll be down to 1
a
day, all week.
1 a day's not bad.
And I'll see how I deal with it, if anyone dies.
This whole thing has been completely fucking insane. And you
Really?
caught it. Yeah, I know. I don't have to tell you. But you caught this madness, this outrage culture right at the peak. I think you hit peak outrage culture.
Thank you.
Well, people didn't give a fuck if you were making a joke. Didn't give a fuck if you had no idea that lady was black. Didn't give a fuck what your mental state was. Didn't give a fuck if you were on Ambien. Didn't give a fuck if you were drinking. Didn't give a fuck if you sincerely apologized.
Oh, go ahead. I do want to talk seriously about that.
But they didn't care that you sincerely apologized and didn't mean to offend. You were cracking a joke about a woman.
It was funny how they've mischaracterized it and lied about it and added words to it.
Yeah.
But, I like to talk about the tweet. But, I seriously apologize to all whom I inadvertently offended. And because they were offended for, like, it wasn't even what they say they were offended because it didn't say that.
No.
But they think that I said she looked like, somebody. And I never said anything about her looks. It was a political tweet. And it's just proof of how everybody's under mass mind control because they took and of course I'm always interested in that, You know that. I've talked about
Mass mind control?
Yeah.
I think
MK
a lot of it's
Ultra.
self-imposed. That's what I think. I think people are under the wave of self-imposed mind control. I don't think it's like there's anybody pulling
You
the
mean
strings.
you think you can get out of it?
No, I don't think anyone's pulling the strings. I don't think this is
You
by
don't?
design. No, I don't. I don't think it's by design. I think
Really?
people are caught up in a wave of fear and paranoia and political correctness. And I think one of the reasons why they attack someone like you is, first of all, you're wealthy and successful and famous.
And beautiful.
You are beautiful.
Thank you.
And one of the best comics of all time.
Oh, thank you so
And
much.
you're also you're an easy target. You're
Yeah.
a white woman.
Well,
and
I don't
you're
identify as a white woman.
What do you identify as?
I identify as a Jew.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
And this is what you thought this woman was as well. What is her
Well,
name
she
again?
looks like my cousin Sharon. She looks just like my cousin. But it wasn't nothing to do with how she looks. That came after my tweet.
But the
no,
looks, but wasn't it about
it
the
was
Planet
about
of the Apes?
the work of her hands, what she engineered in Iran. And I'd been on there talking about I call it a woman's revolution in Iran for years, and speaking to people in Iran about it and what it means to the women who are second-class citizens there. And so if you take that one tweet out of probably, I tweet a lot, so it's probably
you go crazy.
400,000.
You get on tweet
No,
storms.
I don't go crazy. I stay crazy. I admit it. I mean, what the fuck? They're like, you know what? You've said you're crazy for years, and you know what? You're crazy. Well, yeah, I said it for fucking years.
Well, it's also one of the
All
reasons
of
why
us
you're
are
so
crazy.
funny. Yeah.
All comics are fucking nutso.
100%.
At least I don't wash my keys like some. I
Wash
know
their
some guys,
keys?
they got to wash their keys 5, 6, 7 times before they can go on stage. What's his name? Oh, I'm so bad on names. Chris Farley. I always ask comics, I ask them, what's your secret number? What's yours, Joe?
I don't have a secret number.
You don't have a number?
No.
You don't have to do something a number of times? You don't have a number?
No, I don't have a number.
What's your birth date?
8/11/67.
8. What's that, August?
August.
8/11/67. You were born in 1967?
Yes.
Jesus F. Christ. I was in the Utah State Hospital when you were born.
What were you doing? Giving birth?
No, I was in a mental institution.
Whoa.
That was my first hospitalization. It lasted for 9 months, and it was the Utah State Hospital in Provo, where the Osmonds are from. So I was always a big Marie Osmond fan.
The mental health aspect of this conversation is an important one, because here's my take on this.
It's extremely important.
It is important. Mm-hmm. And yesterday was Mental Health Awareness Day.
Yes, I know. And I was quite aware of being mentally healthy yesterday as I was smoking.
If someone
and eating
has
cheese. All I eat is cheese.
If someone has an injured leg, you don't expect them to run marathons. If someone has something wrong with their liver, you don't expect them to process food correctly. You don't blame it on them. But if someone has a mental health issue and they do something erratic, or they say something that's inappropriate and then they apologize for it,
or if they're a comedian,
and you've had legitimate, real, diagnosed, treated mental health issues, trauma-related issues. There you go.
How do you like that,
like
baby?
It. It's a little.
I can do the
think
alphabet.
you do better. Can you?
Yeah.
Congratulations. But for whatever reason, people want to pretend that this is a deliberate act by a calculating person who is just being an asshole. And that's not the case. You're not an asshole.
Not at this time. I have been an asshole on Twitter.
But you
for a
weren't.
long time,
That's not what you were doing.
No.
But
I was talking about Iran and the women's revolution there, and how and it's always been, because you know what, I had my DNA done because I wanted to know, and I am of North African ancestry.
How much?
It's like a very small percentage, but it was something like 25,000 years ago they left North Africa, which is kind of Syria, and they went to Lithuania and Russia and some Europe.
Did you do like 23andMe or something like that? Yeah.
And it just answered so many questions for, why I feel this yearning towards that part of the world. But I do, and especially the geopolitics there are something that have always intrigued me. And I have always attempted to use my voice to, support all the people there.
Well, it's a fascinating
so
part
it
of the
was,
world.
this one tweet was like about, it's actually a genius tweet if you really fucking knew.
What did you say? What exactly did you say? Let's find the tweet, Jamie.
I'll tell you if it's the artificially rendered.
There's an artificially rendered one?
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
What, people distorted what you actually said?
Yeah, first it was racist Roseanne, and then about a couple weeks later it was disgraced comic Roseanne and her racist tweet, and then after that it was disgraced comic and her offensive racist tweet. Because there's all these hoops you got to jump through, They're never done punishing you.
Well, like we were saying before the podcast
started. And all my friends
started,
said, don't apologize to social justice warriors because that's the kiss of death. That's fucking chum in the water, blood in the water,
There's definitely a little bit of that. But what I was saying before the podcast to you is I don't really, what I really think happens is they find a target and they don't care if it's a viable target. But once the target gets greenlit, they go after you until some new target comes along. Until some new distraction. They always have to
have a target, for sure.
And it's recreational outrage. They find they attack you, and they go after you, and they try to distort your position.
And even if they don't know what the fuck you said.
Right.
And obviously they don't. That's what kind of cracks me up. It's like, look at this. Look what they're saying it meant. And, I'm not going to bow down before them and say you were right, and they want me to. But they weren't right. I'm right. I wrote it. Bitch. So I know what I meant. So you don't fucking get to tell me what I meant.
But they don't care. This is the thing, is they don't want to look at it rationally and say, oh, here's a woman that has a history of mental health problems. She was on Ambien and drinking, and she says something that is slightly irrational, but given your explanation of it, well, you didn't
Joe,
even know that she was black.
You and Doug both always think all my tweets make no sense. You've been saying that for fucking years. Since I went on Twitter, you're like, her tweets are just fucking straight up crazy.
Well, you have some crazy tweets for sure.
I don't think they're crazy. You just don't get them.
Well, maybe if I was in the same mindset as you, I would get them.
Yeah, but obviously no one is.
But when I say crazy, I think they're
I know
fun.
I don't think like other people.
Right.
I know that. I've always known that my whole life. I'd always test other people to see what they were thinking. Like even as a kid, I'd be like, but I try to fit in. They go, let's play Barbies, and I'm like, fucking, I don't want to. I'm like, okay, well, but let's have Barbie be a resistance fighter that paratroops into the hidden lines of the German thing and save all the Jews. And they'd go, you have to be her cousin Skipper. And then they'd hand me the Skipper doll. I always had to personify Skipper, and they got to be Barbie.
I didn't even know Barbie had a cousin.
Yeah, Skipper, she has little tiny tits. And I resented that. Because I always had very large pendulous breasts since I was 4 or 5. I did. I don't think or look like other people. I think I'm an alien, really.
What planet do you think you'd be from?
Well, somebody told me I was from Pleiades. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, that's the people that call the Art Bell show. They would always say that from Pleiades. Yeah,
they say round faces are from Pleiades. See, you got a round face. That's what I told you. I don't even go by what people look like, except for I do look at the shape of their head, I have to admit. That's how I classify people. I classify people my own way because I don't think like everybody else thinks. I take a person's shape of their head, and that's the group they represent to me. And I have noticed that the Dutch have the largest heads.
They're big people.
The Dutch have pure square, not all of them, of course, but some of them.
You know, the average height for a Dutch person is like 6 feet tall.
I know.
Yeah, huge,
for the women.
Huge folks. Yeah. Vikings.
Yeah, Vikings.
Yeah.
I love all the different peoples of the earth because they all have a variety of foods that I enjoy. So I like to, I don't just mix with one kind of person in my real life. I mix with all kind of people, and because I'll go anywhere for a free meal. But I love cultures, and I love all people. That's all I want to say.
Well,
I would never. I'm not that person. So
you're not a racist by any stretch of the imagination, but you are a person that
my
will
son
make
said
fun
I'm
of
a
anything.
misanthrope. I'm a misanthrope.
You are a misanthrope, but that's.
I am a respectress of no man or woman.
But most comedians.
Yeah,
have
we're all like that, right?
Some misanthropic intentions or
you have to hate
behaviors.
all people the same.
But you definitely have to mock and make. I mean, it's part of the job description.
Yeah,
you know,
you gotta
you
mock
and make fun of, and you look for things that are irritating about everything.
No shit, right?
Yeah, that's part of the
funny
job.
Stuff.
But not only that was part of your character on your show.
Yeah.
It was part of the reason why ABC wanted you back. It's part of the reason why the show became such a giant hit in its return. I mean, it was a fucking huge hit coming right out of the gate.
Yeah. 28 million people.
That's a lot of fucking people
And it was
today.
number one every episode.
Yeah, that's a lot of people. And a lot of that was because people love this aspect of you. But as soon as you get labeled a racist, everybody throws their hands up and goes, whoa, I didn't know she was racist.
Yeah.
She's racist. And they don't care about nuance. They don't care about the details. They don't care about Ambien. They don't care about alcohol. When I called you on the phone, it was the first thing that I asked
One thing
you.
I've learned, Joe, if you're going to take an Ambien, do not drink a beer. Always only drink a wine
Yes.
with Ambien.
I have a good friend of mine who is one of the nicest, most respectful guys you ever want to meet. He woke up in Germany on a plane, covered in his own vomit, with the police standing over him, asking him if he knew what happened. He wound up getting arrested. They brought him to the jail in Germany, and he's a CEO of a large company. And they went over things with him, and they said, what happened? What do you remember? He goes, well, I remember taking an Ambien, and then I went to sleep, and then I had, I guess I had a beer at some point in time.
Yeah.
And they go, okay, stop. This is what happened. And so they describe how he was hitting on the stewardesses and trying to start fights with men in the cabin. And
he's being
threw
his
up all
real
over
self.
himself. It wasn't his being his real self. He was on Ambien.
Yeah, I know. It distorts things.
He's the nicest guy. If you knew this guy, you would never in a million years believe that he was capable of anything remotely like this. And the German people actually let him stay in the country. They let him continue his vacation. They're like, okay.
They forgave him.
You promise not to do that again? He goes, I'm never fucking taking that shit again in my life.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I said to you when I called you up, I said, what were you doing? Well, and you told me you were on Ambien. And I said, okay, we'll stop right there because I know quite a bit about that because I've had personal experiences with friends that have had real issues with Ambien. I had a bit I did in my act about a friend of mine who literally made a meal while he was on Ambien, cooked, went to the supermarket, got food, cooked
Well, look at Tiger Woods.
Yes.
He was on that, and then he'd go driving off in the golf cart to meet some chick, you know. Gee, and then I don't understand when people say they have sex on Ambien. People say that's a big thing that people take Ambien to have sex. I don't even know how they could stay. I guess they don't stay awake, but another part of them wakes up, and their sex part comes out. That's all I can figure.
I've never taken it. I'm terrified of this stuff.
Don't ever take it.
Yeah, I have no problem going to sleep. I've never had a problem going to sleep.
But you know what I found is THC. They sell it down at the dispensary, and there's one for sleep at night.
Yeah.
And I've been doing that, and I've been sleeping through the night. When I was taking the sleeping thing, the sleeping drug.
Ambien.
Well, I don't want to say it because we don't want to get sued.
It's like Candyman. You don't want to say it 3 times.
You'll get sued, not me.
By saying Ambien?
I bet
I don't
you.
think they give a fuck.
Did you see
People
their
just wanna
tweet,
buy
though?
that
They
shit.
said...
Yeah, I did see that tweet.
Did you see that?
Yeah. Well, you know, I had Hamilton Morris on the podcast, who is a drug expert.
Yeah.
And he writes for Vice and does pieces for Vice. And he went in...
I just did a piece for Vice.
After your incident, he came on and went in great detail about how that is something that happens to people. They have no idea what the fuck they're saying. It's called a hypnotic. That is the classification of drugs that it falls under. And people do all sorts of involuntary things when they're on there. No, it doesn't just make you say racist things. But you didn't say anything intentionally racist. No.
I said
the way
something
people
political
decide
about the work of Valerie Jarrett's hands. And I also was referencing my very favorite movie. So if we could talk about how fucking awesome that movie, Planet of the Apes.
Great fucking movie.
Also, it's the definitive people come on, people now, smile on your brother. It's like, come on. It's like the 100th Monkey, is that the thing? Is that the name of it?
Yeah, that's what it is?
The 100th Monkey on the typewriter?
What is the...
They write a
10,000 monkeys? What is it? How does that work? That if you have a certain amount of monkeys...
No, it's the 100th monkey that changes everything.
Right.
If a species does something 99 times in a row, the 100th time it's gone into their DNA.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and then they evolve to a next level.
100th monkey effect. The 100th monkey effect is a hypothetical phenomenon in which a new behavior idea is claimed to spread rapidly by unexplained means from one group to all related groups once a critical number of members of one group exhibit a new behavior or acknowledge the new idea.
Yeah, critical mass.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, a lot of people put pictures of that woman
well,
right next to the lady.
Well, I didn't put no picture.
I understand.
I said the picture was put up after my tweet.
I understand.
And I didn't have nothing to do with that picture. I didn't say she looked like anything. Seriously, I'm not that fucking shallow. Okay, I never talk about nobody's looks unless they're like thin and blonde and I'm jealous. But, and youthful now. But, or whatever.
But wasn't there another tweet that you made a long time ago about, who was that other woman?
Susan Rice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where you said she has giant swinging 8 balls.
Yeah.
That she's a man.
Well, see, let me explain that now, because this is regionalism. I'm from Utah, and all the girls in Utah, when we got married, and we heard our moms do it too, it's always, where's your ape? They go, what's your ape doing this Sunday? And he's like, oh, he's watching football. Oh, good, let's go out to lunch. It's all of the men were all apes. That's how it is in a breeder culture like Salt Lake City.
Breeder culture?
Yeah, it is.
That is a
pure
breeder culture.
So it's like, where's your ape? And there's like, man, your ape has big fucking swinging 8 balls. I give him that. It's a regionalistic thing. And, so I used it and apologized, but, because I didn't realize, I just sometimes forget what race everybody is, as if I could tell half the time anyway. I can't even see people, to tell you the truth. I need like trifocals. And I never identified other human beings by what they looked like, for God's sake. I just could tell if I felt a liking to them, whatever they looked like.
My point is that this is only 2 things over the course of thousands and thousands of tweets.
Yeah, but you don't miss my point. I said Susan Rice, let's say that she has incredible audacity. That's what I meant. And she does.
But you didn't mean it in a complimentary way.
If someone is audacious, is that negative or positive?
But weren't you talking about her in a negative way, though?
I said she has a lot of audacity. That's what I meant.
Okay.
She does.
Whatever it was.
That's what it was.
But that was one that got brought up as well.
That was also in the middle of a huge conversation about, Benghazi and the Iran deal. Those are the 2 things, or 2 of the 3 things that I like to do on Twitter, although I'm no longer on there.
You got off?
Yeah.
Bad for you?
Yeah. I was glad to see Kanye West got off, too.
Did he?
Yeah.
When?
He deleted all his accounts last week. And I was glad, too, because you're just like, once you're a target, it's just too painful.
Yeah. Well, you definitely shouldn't be reading that shit.
No, I don't read it.
Yeah. But, when you become a target, how do you know if you don't read it?
Well, I know what I'd lived through when it first happened. And that's been like 4 or so months ago. So I just know how I've reacted in my real life since that happened to me.
How long did it take for things to die off?
To die off? What do you mean?
Slow down, where they weren't just coming after you constantly. Like I told you that news crews, when they found out that you were going to come on the podcast the first time, they were trying to show up at my house. They were trying to show up at the studio. They were trying to find me at the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
I mean, they were just trying to hunt down anything about you.
I know. I was sneaking cigs from my boyfriend because we were at my mom's house when I did it, We were at home in Salt Lake City when I tweeted at 2:11 a.m. I just woke up and tweeted. I had this thought in my head, oh, my God, this is going to make so much sense. And then I tweeted it, and then I went right back to sleep. And when I woke up at 7, the shit had hit the fan,
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm going to expound on this later. There was one of those kind of things.
Right.
You just want to get it down. And I, always slept with my computer and tweet. When I wake up, like, when you're old, you have to go to the bathroom a lot, so I always tweet and fall back to sleep. See, and then on the Ambien tweets, my daughter, I used to always, when I took my Ambien, I called my daughter, and she called me, she goes, Mom, you're starting to do the Ambien tweets. Get off the Twitter, But so I just called my daughter then every night when I was doing the Ambien, and I'd go, you know what? Here comes a big fish. She recorded it. Here comes a big fish right through my window. Uh-oh, he's getting stuck in the mirror. And that's what she goes, Mom, turn it all off and go to sleep. I have to have my family tell me that.
You almost need her standing guard by your bed.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me read that before you tweet it. No.
That's what she does now. She took my Twitter account away.
Were you surprised?
But then she tweets all these liberal things that I want to just get up in her face and smack her around for.
Not with your
account.
How
come no, on her own.
On her
but
own
I'm like,
account.
how come it's okay for you to say this? But it ain't for me. Well, Mother, I didn't lose everything.
Oh, she
We're
sticks
only
it in
trying
your
to
face.
help you. I'm like, you're fucking,
Whoa.
you and your fucking help.
Sticks it in your face. Is she a serious liberal?
They all three of my daughters are serious social justice warrior types.
And what do they think about your positions on
Well,
things?
they think I'm a friggin' they think I'm crazy. They always did. Like, they always thought all my choices for president were crazy. But then, oddly, they were all very supportive when I personally ran for president in 2012. They were really supportive of me then.
Well, you're their mom.
Yeah, that was cool, but like all the other times, it's like, oh, God, Mother, it's your generation. It's the baby boomers are the reason everything is all fucked up. So stop letting yourself off the hook.
Whoa. Political conversations in the Barr household.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. What was it that when you first got brought into a mental hospital, what was it about?
Well, I had got hit by a car, and the hood ornament went in my head, in my brains, and scrambled them. And I used to be an A+ math student. I was just great in geometry. Oh my God, I loved geometry. I got straight A's. And then, I sort of fell apart after that. It took a long time to heal from it. And,
How much did your personality change?
Oh, it changed drastically. But, you read all that stuff about traumatic head injuries now, because I do read a lot and talk to a lot of football players who have the same thing, and we do discuss it. Yeah, you change right away.
Yeah.
It's still you, but it's like it's kind of like an artificial intelligence you.
Did you find that you became much more impulsive?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what yeah, here's what happened. I was crossing the street on my way to school.
How old were you?
I was 16. No, I was 15. Going to first week of high school. And I was a big nerd. And anyway, I was crossing the street, and it was the top of a hill, and this girl, she was on her way to the university, and the sun blinded her, and she ran me over. And the rest is history.
How long were you in the hospital for? So first you
Some
must
weeks.
have been in a medical hospital first, and then you were admitted to a mental hospital afterwards.
Well, there was about 3 months in between.
Right.
But I was in the hospital for a while, and I had a head concussion and a brain concussion. And I had hamburger meat for legs. So they did all these, what do they call them? Skin grafts on my legs. Yeah, I was in there for a while. Then I came out of there, and I had forgotten everything about math when I returned to school, which is a matter of weeks after that, maybe 2 months. I'm really bad on time now. But, I had forgotten all my math, and it was just terrible. That was a big depressive depression I went into because I couldn't remember things, And also I became way more impulsive. Then I was like, I don't know what I did. Then I started going really out there into the ethers. I went way out there.
Like how so?
Way out. You know how you go way out. Do you ever go way out?
Not really. I mean, I've had a lot of head injuries.
Oh, yeah.
But not terrible. Mm-hmm. Mostly just punches and kicks. Nothing like car accidents or never played football.
Yeah.
But my head injuries they were just more accumulative when I was young, till I was about 21, 22, where I stopped fighting, stopped sparring.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing, I definitely, I'm subject to impulsive behavior.
Still?
Yeah, but I keep it under wraps. I keep it under control because I'm aware of it. But when I was younger, I didn't understand what was going on. I would just be subject to whims, very addictive behavior. But I tried to keep it positive. But I would be addicted to things, addicted to doing things, addicted to games, ridiculously addictive. Like spend 10, 12, 14 hours a day playing video games. That kind of
sounds
shit.
like my kid.
Yeah. Well, some of it's just normal because video games are awesome. But it would be, for me, it'd be everything. Martial arts, pool, whatever it is. I'd just be completely obsessed with it and be thinking about it all day. In a point where it wasn't necessarily healthy.
Yeah.
And just on a whim, I would just want to go do something. I almost had no control over compulsions. And I think some of that is, whatever brain injuries that I've had are very mild in comparison to a lot of people that I know. Certainly very mild in comparison to yours.
Plus there was a lot of trauma in the state hospital that, I'm like, being there and seeing and experiencing.
And how long did they
I was
admit
in
you
there
for?
9 months.
So what was it that they brought you in there for? How were you behaving that they decided that you needed to be admitted?
I was out there.
You say that, like, what does that mean?
I don't think there's any words the English
you just
can understand.
You didn't have a control of reality. You didn't have control of your behavior. Your thinking was screwed up. I
was, not thinking like the normal thing that they say you should be thinking about.
But people around you had realized that it was so bad that they had to admit you to a hospital. It wasn't just that, oh, Roseanne, she's eccentric. It was, she needs actual medical help.
Yeah, I asked to be admitted.
You knew something was really wrong.
Yeah. I finally admitted it was.
Did you know at the time, were you completely aware that it was connected to your car accident?
No.
You just knew something was wrong?
Yeah.
And back then, they didn't really kind of understand that the way they understand it now.
No, they didn't understand too much about bipolar disorder, or they knew nothing about multiple personality disorder.
Trauma-related.
Trauma-related,
well.
yeah. PTSD, now they call everything PTS.
Yeah.
They don't even say D anymore. They say PTS. Post-traumatic stress.
So when they admitted you, what was the treatment? Like, what did they do to you when you were inside the mental hospital?
Well, they right away put me on an antipsychotic.
What was it? Do you remember?
Mellaril.
And what did that do?
I don't know. I wasn't there.
You weren't there. You were gone.
I was gone. I was just watching these people I was in the mental institution with, and I wanted to tell that story.
Yeah.
Because there was this one lady. I think I told this to Paul Rubens, too. I think it might be where he got Large Marge. But there's this one lady, and she's in this cage, She's in a cage with keys on our ward there. And, Christ, I can't remember her name either. Marge.
Her name was Marge?
Yeah. And she's about 600, 700 pounds.
Whoa.
And she's funnier than hell. I thought, man, this chick's got some good lines. And I traded lines with her, and she'd laugh. I always like jokes. You can always find a joke wherever you are, That's the key to life, I think. But, so everybody called me Chunky. That was my name. Chunky. And there was another girl in there named Shorty. So it was Chunky and Shorty. We were like a duo. But anyway, so she's like, hey, Roseanne, get what's-her-name's keys when they go to dinner and open this up here and, come in here. I'm like, okay, because, after all, I was crazy too. And I trust, I don't know, I just always, I never questioned that there was danger anywhere. I always got in trouble, caught, beat up, something, But, so I did it, and I can't, Anka, that was her name, the head nurse. I hated her because she told me I needed to bathe. I'll tell that story later. It was horrifying. It changed my life. But anyway, so they all go to dinner, so I go in there, steal the keys out of the thing where they are, the attendants, and I go in there with Marge and leave the keys in the door and close the door. Yeah. So I'm like, hey, Marge, how's it going, Marge? And she's like, Chunky, you know why they put me in this cage, don't you? Takes a drag of her cigarette. I go, well, why? No, I don't know why. Well, Chunky, it's because they consider me to be dangerous. I'm like, how come? I'm like Gomer Pyle,
right.
Seriously. I'm total Gomer
And you're
Pyle.
only like 16 at the time?
15. About 8 minutes into it, I realized, oh, shit. Oh, shit. Something's going on here. That's how long it always took me to, zero in on what's happening, because I'm not even there. I'm always ignoring when other people talk. I don't listen. I'm thinking of funny things. They bore
right.
me,
Yeah.
So I'm always in my own head. I never get out, really, except for when I work. But, then it took a turn, she's like, so it got to, why do they consider you dangerous? I had to ask it because she kept on getting me there to that point. Well, she wanted me to ask it. I was trying to delay it, because I knew they'd be back in 40 minutes, and it was like going on 20 now. She goes, I'm in here because, that's my voice I got to do with Marjorie. I'm in here because I broke a couple of attendants' backs. Didn't they tell you that? Like, no. Uh-uh. I'm like, how'd you do that? And in my head, I'm thinking, don't change. Don't miss a beat. Don't miss a breath. Don't look nowhere. Just keep on acting all, Utah girl.
Because you knew she was dangerous.
Well, that's when it hit my head that it was, uh-oh, she's talking about, I'm feeling like prey.
Right.
And I go, how'd you do that? Because I'd figure, oh, it's an accident. It's good old Marge. She tells good jokes. She goes, well, it's easy. You just, I'm doing me again. I got to do her. It's easy. You just put one hand here and one hand here, and then you... I'm like, oh. Where'd you learn that? I'm changing the subject. How was your mom? What was the school like you went to? What's your favorite book? What's your favorite color? What kind of ice cream you like? You ever seen that there's worms in the oatmeal? You ever notice that? She that one got her. She's like, yeah, I did. I did notice they was crawling motherfuckers. I go, yeah, and they expect us to eat that? This, I like suddenly I'm transported to Confederacy of Dunces when he's on the thing against Levi Pants. Remember that rant in that book? So I'm just tap dancing, really. And then I hear it click. Fuck, man. I got up, fumbled the keys out of the door, put them back in the attendance room, went in my room.
When you said you hear click.
Yeah, I knew the first door got open. There was 2 doors. I heard the first door open. They're coming back from dinner.
So you got away
I'm
from her.
supposed to be sick, in my room.
Right.
So I didn't go to dinner. Yeah, so I'm just laying there. And that was like daily. I mean, there were so many weird people in there. We had this one girl, Rosie, her name was, where she always ended up with a pair of real sharp scissors and lunge for someone's throat. We're like, where'd you get them? Who's bringing her them scissors? You know. But anyway, I went on antipsychotic medicine, and that was good that I was on there for the shit I saw.
Now, when you say
my friends hanging and stuff like that.
You saw your friends hanging
Yeah.
in the mental institution?
Yeah. So I saw worse than that.
What'd you see?
I saw, victims of abuse. It's terrible.
By the guards?
No, of kids coming,
Oh, victims of
from their
abuse
families.
that came in that were mentally scarred by that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, when they put you on antipsychotics, was
Yeah.
it because you were exhibiting psychotic behavior?
Yeah.
What kind of psychotic behavior?
Well, they thought it was psychotic. I was just scared that I think I was throwing them off because I wanted to think I was psychotic. I didn't want them to think I was schizophrenic. I knew enough not to let them near me. Because once you got the diagnosis of schizophrenic, they would do
Electric shock.
shocks, and
Yeah.
they'd experiment on you, basically. You were in a guinea pig, and I didn't want that.
Jesus.
So maybe and then, so yeah, I was doing weird things, like walking down the middle of streets after I got hit by the car. I walked down the middle of streets. I don't know. I thought, you got to get over your fear of crossing the streets. That's what was in my head. And then I'd walk down a highway,
Whoa.
I was in a whole other realm. It was like a real surrealistic and metaphysical realm. And I grew comfortable there. But, I think most artists, writers, and performers are in that world. I mean, we got a toe in it at least. I've gone in and out, depending on, now I think I'm on the right medications that help me.
There's a lot of comedians that have similar stories.
Yeah.
Some of the greats. Kinnison has a similar story to you.
I know.
He was hit by a car and changed his personality radically. And it happened in a similar age. It happened when he was young as well. And he was one person, and then he get hit by a car, and then after the car, he was this wild man.
Yeah.
Wild, didn't give a fuck,
Well,
totally impulsive.
It's not that I didn't give a fuck. It's that I just thought different.
Thought different.
I was just, I don't know. My mom says when I was 18 months old, I used to go out in the street and direct cars. We lived on a highway. And, that she'd come and find me there, just 18 months old, holding up my hands.
Jesus Christ.
And stopping traffic. So I always had a weird thing going there. But, I don't know. I think I watched too much of that police show, where they'd stop traffic. I used to love TV shows and think they were real. Some of it.
How many people do you think know this about your mental health history?
Anybody who knows me.
I don't think very many people know it that were angry at you.
Oh, yeah, they did.
I don't think they did.
Yeah, they did.
I don't think people looked past the surface. I think they looked at you as a rich white lady who said something that they considered to be racist, and they decided they were going to attack you. And then the perception, the optics of this was the reason why ABC canceled the show. The reason why it was ABC, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the reason why they canceled the show. It's the reason why everybody pulled back away from you. And what did that feel like when nobody defended you? People who should know you the way I know you. And I defended you from the very beginning because I said,
know,
look,
my son told me.
I'm like,
you did, thank you.
This is not a racist person. I go, This is a woman who's kind of crazy. She's brilliant, hilarious, fun to be around.
Joe.
Yes. It's one of the reasons why I love you.
Well, they try to outlaw comedy. That's what I think.
Well,
I was surprised that more comics didn't say nothing because, I don't know.
they're scared. People are
Yeah,
scared.
I know
They're
people are
scared to support someone that they consider to be racist.
Yeah.
I mean, I got a lot of shit from it, but I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I didn't.
They can think what they want and call me what they want. It don't change me.
It doesn't change
me.
you. Well, it just takes time before the dust settles, and I knew that once you and I talked, if you and I sat down and talked like this, people would get a chance to see who you really are.
Well, they may not like me.
They don't have to.
No, they don't have to.
You're not a bad person. You've never been a bad person.
No, I'm not a bad person, but I've done bad things. And like I was talking to, I'm a name dropper. I hate to drop his name out, but forgive me. I should have asked him first. But, I was talking to Mike Tyson, and he's been through some stuff. And you're like, well, the thing is, you gotta become a pacifist. That's your only.
Yeah, don't battle with people.
No, don't battle.
No, you can't battle with people back and forth online. There's too many people. There's not enough time, and you'll go crazy. You'll get wrapped up in conflict, and you'll just be involved in it every minute of every day.
Yeah, I call it feeding the beast.
Yeah.
Because that really is Tower of Babel, Twitter.
Well, it's definitely a strange environment where all these people are just, they don't even know you. They have no contact with you other than you're this person they could reach and get to react to certain lines. And the more explosive and the more derogatory and insulting the lines they say to you, the more impact it's going to have on you. So that flavors the way they communicate with you.
Yeah, it was tough working with a lot of social justice warriors and remaking Roseanne. It was tough on me mentally.
So when you mean like the staff that you were working with?
Look, I was the only one saying, I'm not a Republican, nor am I a fucking Democrat. I'm an independent, and I'm just anti-corruption. I'm just anti-corruption. Don't make me into your idea of who I am.
What was their idea of who you were?
Well, they thought that since I supported President Trump, that I was, a racist and a scumbag and, anti-everything, just because I voted for him.
Why did you support Trump?
I love what Norm Macdonald said. If I can quote him. Can I quote Norm?
Please do. I love
Norm. I think
Norm.
this says it better than anything. He said, the American people hated Hillary so bad that they voted for a guy they hated even worse, just to rub it in.
That is Norm Macdonald. That's brilliant. That is so true.
I wasn't for Hillary, and I was a woman, and that was like a big no-no.
Right.
That's all it basically comes down to.
Yeah.
Because it was the woman's turn. But, I'm I just want a government that works for the American people. I pay taxes, and I expect something from my taxes. And, here's news to all of them out there, including POTUS. I think at some time the American people need to audit what happened to their tax monies, and I think we should all have a say in what this country does with our hard-earned dollars. And don't just assume you speak for us, because obviously you don't, or we wouldn't have a trade deficit of $20 trillion. So STFU, and let the American people handle what they should handle. In this country, it's a republic, and it runs on the consent of the governed, and it's really, really time to talk about that.
Now, when you say social justice warriors that you had to work with, like specifically, what were the issues that you were dealing with?
Well, Trump was the big elephant in the room. My support for Trump, and their patronizing shite, can I call it?
Yeah.
Well, we have to remember that I'm going to paraphrase, but it was a lot. Well, the ignorant, unwashed people who voted for Trump, it's not their fault. That was kind of what it was like.
Mm.
And because I said, well, it was working class people that elected Trump, so I really can't. I can't let you say that to me, because it's not true. They already had in their head what it means. And, of course, they are wrong, like they're wrong about, this being about, that Kavanaugh being about abortion rights. They're wrong about that, too. So,
How are they wrong about that?
Because I don't think, he said pretty much that, you can't overturn something that's in law.
Roe versus Wade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, they fear-mongered to get everybody thinking that's what they were after. And I don't think it is what they were. I don't think that is why they wanted to.
Well, I think they're concerned with anything that Trump's trying to pass. Anyone that Trump's trying to get to the Supreme Court, any bills that Trump's trying to pass.
Well, then they should put on their adult pants and get involved and make sure that he represents, the will of the people of this country. You have to become involved in the process then. But don't just sit there on your butt criticizing everybody and calling everybody names. That's really not any kind of a justice warrior. That's all phony. You got to get involved.
Right. Now, when you were first approached about doing a Roseanne relaunch, when they came to you, how did this all take place? And did you get to pick the people that you worked with?
I had already said about a year prior to that I supported Trump over Hillary, and it was like, it was in all the papers in Hollywood, how could she, and, this and that and the other.
But it didn't seem to bother the American people.
No.
Like,
well, they're my
Hollywood,
audience.
Yeah.
Well, I always try to make content for the audience, not for the critics.
Right.
And
not for the industry.
Not for the industry, no.
The industry is ruthlessly left. Like to the point where it's not even a thinking thing. It's just like they automatically go left because that's the way you're accepted in this town. That's the way you stay working. That's the way you stay invited to all the good parties.
Well, that's the way that certain Stalinist types in show business keep it. Everything about the media is tightly controlled in Hollywood.
So when they came, who came to you with the relaunch? How does it happen that Roseanne is canceled for so long?
John and Sarah they did a sketch on Sarah's talk show, and everyone liked it. And Sarah called me
and said,
she said, John said he's in if if you're in.
So you say,
well, if John's in, of course. Is Lori in?
Right.
Yeah, Lori's in. Okay. Yeah, let's do it.
So who turned on you after this was over?
Well, my coven of lawyers advises I not get into this at this time.
That's
I think it's self-explanatory.
Well, people could find out.
Yeah. I don't know that they turned on me. I think it was always that way since, I came in and said, somebody on the show has to be a Trump supporter, and none of them would do it. I'm like, it's a great role. You could do it. You're the kind of person who would. And they were like, no. So I said, okay, well, then I'll do it because, I did vote for him and everybody knows it.
Well, people forget Archie Bunker. It's one of the greatest characters in the history of sitcoms.
Well, nobody wants to be the quote unquote, other.
The bad person.
The bad guy in Hollywood or, be the other in Hollywood.
Yeah.
But, I was up for it. I thought it would be great. I thought it would be, I'd get some lines in there from the other side once in a while. I let them say all they want to say. I never told them, don't say that about him, don't this and that. Like the day of the filming, I'd been saying, I let my writers do their writing, but I lay out all the stories or approve them, And so it was that first show, and I'm waiting for a line about Hillary. I go, I let you have 7 Trump jokes in this show, and you can't even one fucking Hillary joke?
They didn't want a Hillary joke?
No.
In? What was the Hillary joke? Do you remember?
I said, you better get me a Hillary joke, bitch. I did. I go, it ain't about you. Your name ain't on this shit.
What did they say about it? Like, why did they not want a Hillary joke? Did they have an explanation for it?
No, but everybody knew. They wanted Hillary.
Yeah.
They felt it would go against their morals to say that there's another way to vote or to acknowledge that, half the country voted that way.
Or that she's extremely flawed.
Well, at that point, they didn't care.
That's what's weird about it.
Isn't it? The whole thing's weird.
There's a complete denial of reality. It's like this is not. It has nothing to do with women. It has nothing to do with liberals. It has nothing. You're talking about an extremely flawed person.
Well, I'm not going to talk about her as a person. I'll just talk about her concepts and her voting record.
Let's not even use the word person. Politician. Extremely flawed politician. With a background of deep corruption and lies. Demonstrable lies. Like this, we're not talking about some amazing gem. You know?
Well, let's just put it like this. A lot of us people who liked Bernie voted for Trump.
Yes.
Let's
lot of
put it
people
like
did.
that.
Yeah. Well, especially when they found out, when Donna Brazil's book came out, they found out what they had done to Bernie during the primaries.
Yeah.
It's dark shit.
Yeah.
It's dark that just everybody was like, whatever.
They said nobody will
rug.
vote for a Jew. They'd use that one.
It's hilarious.
In the South.
To this day. Mm-hmm. To this day, they're still doing stupid shit like that. But
you know, I didn't want her, even though she's a woman. But, you know, I did want her in 2008. I wanted her, not Obama, because I liked her health care plan better at that time when I was still, before I walked away. So, you know, they're doing a whole march. I might show up.
A march for what?
Walk away.
Walk away from what?
The Democrat Party.
Who is they? Who's doing this?
A whole bunch of kids, youths.
And what's the idea?
October 27th across from the White House. They're going to walk from the DNC to that park there and make statements.
But walking away to where? To an independent party?
No, they're
libertarian?
They're going Republican.
Republican. That's what's bizarre. The polar opposites, the right and the left, the blue and the red.
And all those guys golf together. Let's cut through the bullshit. They're all making deals and scratching each other's back, whether they're from one party or the other. Come on.
Well, Trump paid Clinton to be at his wedding.
He did?
Yeah.
Wow, that's smart. He got a photo op and a half out of that one.
I mean, he paid those people forever. It's one of the reasons why when he was campaigning, he had, you know, so much animosity towards them and towards the system that he was a part of for so long. He was a Democrat most of his life.
I know. Well, he's getting it too. But that just proves it right there. Mm-hmm. You know, they give money to both parties. You know, in Hollywood, they don't just give to the Democrat Party. No. They give the Republican Party too, but they stay silent about that.
Well,
it's kind of smart to cover your bets, you know, which government contract you're going to be able to dip into. Mm-hmm. And isn't that like what Hollywood's really all about?
Well, there's so many levels to it, right? I mean, there's the blatant tribalism of right versus left, where people pick a side and they adopt a predetermined pattern of behavior, and they adopt a conglomeration of ideas and opinions.
They download the program.
Yes.
Yeah, and they're just bots.
Exactly.
They parrot everything.
And then below the surface, you got geopolitical aspirations,
right.
And you have the global war machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you have, the money, the real money.
But you know what, Joe? I always say, and people call me a whatever they call me, but I have optimism, and I've said for a long time, when the right people are at the controls of all the machinery and technology, that will be so great for humanity.
Yeah.
We have it right within our grasp to, you know, make sure that this is a good place for all kids. We could do that tomorrow. So I think we should start thinking about that, and all this artificial intelligence that gets us fighting with each other. Let's just step out of it like the Matrix, you know. Let's go to a new place where we're about solutions and working together and bringing this country together and getting some real good jobs, real good health care, things that we pay taxes for, better streets, good education, the things we pay taxes for.
Yeah.
And mental health. Most of all, I think that's what we need, particularly for our veterans. They come back and they're untreated, and they won't even give them marijuana, which really helps. They won't even legalize that for, you know, people who have PTS, and marijuana does help with PTS. And talk about supporting our troops. 22 of them a day are killing themselves. They're homeless. I mean, that's who we are. I don't want that to be who we are. Come on, people think nobody can see us and what we do, but they do. and they want it right. People want things to be right and work and used for the good of all people, and stop tearing people apart from each other. We're neighbors. You know, that was why I wanted to go back to the Roseanne show and say all those things, and I'm so happy that I did. I did it in 9 episodes. I wanted a 10th season, and I did. All 9 episodes were exactly the episodes I wanted to do. So, and it was #1 every week, and I just thank my fans for that. You know, a turn of fortune, but I did what I wanted to do, and it was so gratifying and so wonderful. And I don't want that to be forgotten. I don't want the 9th season to disappear. I mean, the 10th season to disappear.
What do you think about them doing it without you? I mean, how fucking weird is that?
It is weird. I'm like, oh, I get it. They're sending me a subtle message to OD on opioids. You know, that's how.
Is that what you think?
Yeah, that's some of it. Mind control stuff, yeah.
So you think that they want you to kill yourself?
Well, I don't know why they would do what they did. Let's just put it that way. It doesn't make any sense.
I just think they're being completely inconsiderate and they don't care about you.
No, they don't. And they so belittled my contribution to the show, too. It just, you know, was shocking. That was the most painful part of the whole thing.
Well, one of the things that I read was that you hadn't considered the more than 100 people that work on the show when you did what you did. And I'm like, that's a ridiculous statement.
I didn't cancel the show.
Well, not only did you not cancel the show, you were on Ambien drunk tweeting. The idea that you did this was some sort of a deliberate ploy to get the show canceled. Or the idea that there was any justification that the show should be canceled at all. Like, what, you can't just say something that you didn't want to come out that way and apologize for it. They
and
don't
I
know
did
who
apologize.
You are.
I apologized.
You did apologize, but they don't know who you are.
I apologized for 3 months. No.
Yeah, they don't know who you are.
No, they tried to wipe me off the map of the culture.
Because people are scared to be connected with anybody who's a target.
Yeah.
And they acted like cowards.
I wouldn't have. I mean, if it were my friend, definitely I would have, of years, of 2 decades or more, I would have said something. But that's just me. And I definitely, one thing I would never have done is stab somebody in the rush to condemn somebody who, you know, was my biggest advocate.
Well, there was a lot of that.
And sometimes an only advocate.
There was a lot of that. I saw a lot of that.
Yeah, but
I
just thought, oh, that's just about them. It's just about them. It's not about me. I just let go of all of it because, you know, I am a person of belief, and I just always try to do what's right in front of me. I feel like what, you know, my higher intelligence plays in front of me, I'll do it, and because it knows better than me, and which is why I don't think like other people. But, and also that I was not going to fight, not at 66. I'm too old. I'm pretty frail. And I think, you know, I worked really hard to get a 2nd season, and it's kind of ironic. I crossed time zones to do promotion for free for months. And, you know, during that time, when you're old and you can't sleep and you're crossing time zones, going from Hawaii to New York and back and then back again and back again, you know, I kind of became dependent on Ambien, and I, you know, almost every night took it. And, you know, obviously something was wrong because I didn't think, I thought that tweet was about a science fiction movie, which happens to be my favorite movie, and which I think is very apt in the world today, particularly in Iran, where just a small group of corrupt leaders are oppressing the citizens. And I think there's a lot of references in that movie that go along with what's happening in Iran, of the human beings rising up to overthrow their overlords. And that's how I was looking at the whole thing. So when I woke up to tweet there, that was what was in my head. It was certainly not somebody's looks. And it was also about the Arab Spring in Egypt, which you know, Obama he didn't handle it right. And so all those things are interrelated with Iran and the Iran deal, the Iran nuclear deal. You know, I'm extremely well read on that subject. I certainly wouldn't be at the height of my power and my fame being on there going, oh, somebody looks like a monkey. Excuse me, I'm not an idiot, okay? I wouldn't be on there, you look like a monkey. I'm a well-read and intelligent woman, and my word and things that I write to people over in that part of the world, I've brought a lot of people together in that part of the world with my tweets. And most of my tweets are, spiritual in nature anyway. So it wasn't what people thought it was, and still I apologize for inadvertently hurting anyone's feelings. Still, I apologize for inadvertently, and not, I apologize that they were wrong and they misheard it and misunderstood it, but that wasn't good enough either. And, just get to a point where I go, I'm letting go of it. My fans who know me and my family and people who like me and know me for my life, they know who I am, and that's all that matters. They can call me whatever they want. I don't accept their definition of that word, and I think that they should read more.
Well, one of the things that's most shocking about this outrage culture that we live in right now, this age of outrage, is that there's no path to redemption. There's no acceptance of apologies.
There is, though.
Yeah, but there's not from the general public.
Oh, yeah, the public, everywhere I went, people run up to me. I've never felt so much love in my entire career in real life.
But not on Twitter and not on Facebook.
Not on social media,
right,
no.
Not on social media. Social media, it magnifies the very worst aspects of humanity because you're not interacting with people in the real flesh.
Right.
You're not experiencing social cues. You're not looking them in the eye. You're not seeing them as a person.
Yeah.
You're just seeing them as a target online.
Well, I think that Twitter is a purposeful plan, like Facebook. I got off Facebook years ago because I realized what they were doing.
What do you think Twitter's doing?
It's doing the same thing that Facebook did.
How so?
It's manufacturing consent. And, it's using bots to do it.
What do you mean by manufacturing consent?
It's a place where, like Noam Chomsky says, the press manufactures consent. The consent of the governed. So that's what they're doing, is manufacturing the consent of the governed. But they also manufacture dissent. They control the opposition, too, on Twitter. And I like getting in between those two and causing a ruckus. Because I knew it was all artificial intelligence anyway. It's all just to track us. We all know that. Just like they do in China.
So what are you saying? You think there's some sort of a grand plan to get people to argue with each other?
Yeah, I think it's a social experiment to turn one group against another, which, it's smart because it's divide and conquer. Mm-hmm. And as long as we're as all these people getting robbed, all these taxpayers getting robbed, sitting there pointing to other taxpayers that are getting robbed and blaming them. But everybody needs to look upward of our government, ask for an audit of our taxes, and actually take responsibility for the things our country does. We're getting judged for it anyway.
I think there's certainly people that are capitalizing. I think there's certainly people that are capitalizing on all this chaos and all the conflict. But I don't think it's manufactured. I don't think it's engineered. I just think it's happening because this is a new thing. This ability to interact with each other. You think it just has
a mind of its own?
I think people have a mind of their own, and people are inherently tribal. There's almost no way to stop them from being tribal.
Well,
and
I like that people are tribal.
But the problem with tribalism is that you sometimes have enemies that are unnecessary. So you develop this
idea that you're a part of a group. Or you could have allies on common ground.
Well, that would be nice if we all looked at ourselves as a tribal world.
That's how I do look at the world, and why I didn't want Hillary Clinton, because her party is very much for corporate law, and the Republican Party is very much for tribal law. And I am a tribal person, and I think tribal people should, have their land.
Tribal in what way? How are you tribal?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, I'm Jewish. When I go over there to the Middle East, I visit the graves of my teachers. That's how I'm tribal. I go to their graves, and that's what we do. That's what all indigenous people do. They want to control their sacred burial grounds, and that is anti-corporate law, and that's why I'm anti-corporate law. I like to study papal bulls and corporate law and maritime law and all that kind of stuff. I like to read. So I have a lot of information, and it makes me angry or sad is more it that the work of an artist over 30 years, they think that we just pull that out of their ass and that they can copy it, without the artist, they can copy it.
You mean your show?
I do.
Yeah.
And it is, all the stuff I suffered in my life I put into that show. That show is about my family, my children. And it's just like, wow, it's so huge. It's so huge. It's beyond entitled. But
what are they going to? What is their plan? And how are they able to do that? Did you let them?
Yeah, I signed off. They asked me to.
Why'd you sign off?
Because I felt like I would be a huge hypocrite to have talked 30 years or more in my life about labor rights and the rights of working people if I took away those 200 people's jobs. So that's why I did it. I wanted them to work. I know how they had planned on another season, and they probably had already spent the money.
Was there any consideration of redemption? Was there any path where they could allow you to apologize or do something that would endear yourself to the people where they would accept your apology?
I offered that. I said, let me go on all your ABC shows and explain my tweet and how it was a political and not a racial tweet. And, that was denied me. It's like you can't say anything till you sign off.
You can't say anything until you sign off. So they wanted you to sign off the rights, and then they would have you do whatever you wanted to do, go on their interview shows.
No, they didn't guarantee that.
They didn't guarantee that. So they just wanted you to sign off, and they offered you nothing in return.
They offered me some money.
But the idea was just to be able to redo the show.
Yeah, to take all those years of my ideas and how I thought of 20 years of those situations to come back. It took me 20 years to figure how would these characters, where would they be now? And I did that by living among regular and normal people for 20 years. I never lived behind, racially segregated gates like other stars. I lived in working people's neighborhoods, and I farm around farmers, and I wasn't going to be that big of a hypocrite.
Yeah,
so
you have a macadamia nut farm.
I sure do. It's gorgeous. You should come and see it sometime.
I'd love to come see it. I love the Big Island.
Isn't it gorgeous?
It's amazing.
People are dumb there, though, today. You know what I read? Some people. Some lady took a boat full of people too close to the volcano to look at it, and the lava overtook their boat, and thank God none of them were killed. But they got like about 2 feet up on the lava.
Oh, Jesus
So don't
Christ.
do that, Hawaiians.
Don't do that. Somebody got hit with a
they
flying
got good
chunk
weed
of
there.
rock.
That's probably why.
It's pretty good weed.
Yeah.
They got hit by a flying chunk of rock from the volcano on one of the boats, too. They were having lava tourism, and someone got clipped by a rock.
It's so not smart.
It's so stupid. It's a dangerous situation.
Shouldn't be. Don't go on those tours.
Is your area safe?
My
now?
area flooded a bit. I had to replace my roads for about the 10th time in 10 years. I always got to replace my roads. I really got into making roads. That's one thing that I really did enjoy.
Yeah.
So I'll be headed back there and be making more roads. So I'm excited about it. I can cut a road like nobody's business, Joe. I'm a hell of... I want to write a book. My granny is a scout. And because I do scout the jungle, and make a road in there.
I love the attitude of people that live on the Big Island. It's a very relaxed, laid-back, friendly attitude. They just have all the time in the world. It's a different sort of vibe when you go there.
Yeah, everybody helps their neighbors there. They don't, turn them in.
Yeah.
Well, everybody helps out their neighbors, and their neighbors are like every kind of people you can think of. It's very diverse cultural
How'd you wind up living
Mecca.
out there?
Well, I went there because my son Buck, I made him go to the school out there. So then I bought a place right by the school because this kid, he's 23 now, so he probably won't get mad, but he had some severe ADHD there, so I had to do what I did to get him. Now he just graduated from college. He's doing real good.
Nice.
Yeah. He's my first college grad.
All right. ADHD, maybe he's a comic.
Yeah, he's so funny. Oh, my God. He's so hilarious.
Maybe he's a comic just
I
waiting.
think so.
Sure, it's in
All
his
my
DNA.
grandkids are, too. They're all
Yeah. That
waiting.
video that you showed me. Yeah.
They're all hilarious.
Yeah, they seem very funny. What are they going to do to your character on the show?
They're going to,
They're going to kill you off?
yeah, I think they did.
They didn't tell you?
No, they didn't tell me.
How
but
weird is it?
Some of my spies told me.
How weird is it they're taking you out of Roseanne? They're calling it the Connors. It's all going on without you being there. What does that feel like?
It's a mind warp and a mind fuck. You know, so I'm just trying to deal
All from
with
a
it.
tweet.
Yeah.
Like,
A misunderstood tweet.
a misunderstood tweet while you're on Ambien, while you're drunk, dealing
I
with...
wasn't drunk. I only had like 1 or 2 beers.
Well, when you have 1 or 2 beers with Ambien,
Yeah. I guess you're drunk.
you're fucked up.
I was. Yeah. I wasn't in.
And
I
smoking
wasn't-
pot too, right?
No, I don't think I'd smoked pot then.
Hmm.
No, I didn't smoke pot then. I was at my mom's house. I was puffing on the cigs. I went down in the basement. I was hiding down there in the basement because they were surrounding my mom's house, paparazzis and such. And so I was down in the basement, and that's where I always used to go when I was like 13. And I found this stuff and chalk on the walls of the basement there that I remembered right when I was 13.
Wow.
And then I found an old butt from when I snuck cigs when I was 13.
Did you try to smoke it?
Oh, hell yeah, it smelled good. No, I'm kidding. But I was hiding down there smoking. And they were knocking on my mom's door, and I was like, oh, my God. So my boyfriend got the door. He's like a big man, you know. He's like, may I help you? You know, that's my man character. And I thought they were going to, you know, say something. And they're like, please tell Roseanne we love her. And, you know, we don't like this and blah, blah. And that was happening all the time. And that's when I was like, geez, I've never, ever felt this kind of affection from people in all my career. So it's kind of a cool thing.
Well, that's the thing. There's the social media outrage, and then there's the people in real life that feel terrible for you because they feel like you got a raw deal.
Yeah, they think that there are so many double standards of people who said things on the air. Remember, I just said it to a small population, less than 600,000 people on Twitter. But these people say things on the air, and they are not. Well, I know Joy had to call Pence and apologize. So
Yeah, what did Joey Behar say about Pence that was so bad? Something about his Christian faith.
Yeah, that they're psychotic or something because they
So she called him
feel
and apologized?
Jesus. Yeah, that's what I heard. You know, an apology with your network behind you really works. Like with what's her name that called Ivanka the names? I can't remember.
Oh, Samantha Bee?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And her network was behind her, and
Yeah.
that was far more offensive, and it was on the air. And but when your network is not behind you, you don't really. And they
Well,
weren't
it wasn't
not
a
behind
racial
me.
thing. The thing about
No. They didn't want me to tweet. The whole truth is, I told them I wasn't going to tweet, and you know I promised them over and over. And although they never sent it in writing, which was required, but anyway, they called my publicist and unloaded on him all the time. And you know, I should have stayed off Twitter. I did it to myself, and you know, I made a mistake, and the ball kept rolling.
But it's just crazy that this, what I think is an insignificant mistake, especially in light of your apology, could lead to no redemption possible.
Yeah.
That no redemption possible, that this giant fucking hit show. And I don't know what's going to happen with the Connors, but I think it's going to fail. If you asked me, if I had some money to bet, if I was in Vegas, that shit ain't going to work. How are you going to do Roseanne without Roseanne? If you wanted to have a whole new sitcom with all those people with a totally unrelated storyline, that's one thing. But you don't think America's going to know that they killed you off? Like, what the fuck is that? And now with time and consideration, after time has passed and people can review everything, they're going to go, is it really this bad? And they're going to think about their own lives. Like, what about me? What if I say something fucked up? Just fucking around.
They should do
what
that.
What if I take Ambien and accidentally say something crazy and don't even remember saying it? And then it's misconstrued or it comes out wrong. Is that going to ruin my whole life? Like, how can you have someone ruin their whole life for something that is misconstrued?
That they did
doesn't
at
make any sense.
17 also. Really? I mean, that's why I think, first of all, us women, we need to do a better job of raising our sons. And but at 17, everyone's out of their friggin' mind. I have 5 kids. There's not a one of them who didn't do something horrendous at age 17.
Well, we were just talking about that with Andrew Santino, who was in here earlier. That when young men, especially young men that don't get a birds and the bees speech, and who knows what the fuck is going on in their home, people do stupid shit. Yeah.
My son that went to college, Buck, he says he learned the day he started college, they gave out this pamphlet on sexual assault to all the boys. I guess they gave it to the girls too. But he said he read it and he realized it was any kind of sexuality at all. Don't even do it. And I told both my sons, you got to if you're going to have sex with somebody, you make them sign a consent form and take it to their lawyer and get it properly notarized and then make a date for after that happens.
Even that's not good enough.
It's a dangerous time for our sons and our daughters.
Well, it's always a dangerous time for women, right? If you're with the wrong man.
Well, or the wrong woman. Are you shitting me? Women are just as horrible as men.
Women are horrible with women too. This is one of the
women are more horrible
statistics
to
on
women.
Sexual assault and rape amongst lesbian couples. It's pretty bad.
But I mean, what about rape in the prisons? I mean, nobody talks about that. That's the real rape culture where men are learning. It's terrible.
Well, yeah. Well, we can get into depth about how bad prisons are in general and how people aren't redeemed.
I watch that Orange is the New Black, so I know.
I've never seen it.
It's great. Oh my God, it's great.
But the problem with there's no rehabilitation. I mean, it's very very.
There's no forgiveness.
In prisons, what you're doing is you take people and you make them better criminals or make them more hardened criminals. You surround them with other criminals. You give them a horrible
You abuse them further because most prisoners are in there because they're abused children.
Well, and what percentage of prisoners are in there for nonviolent drug offenses?
That's what really drives me crazy.
It's fucking insane.
That's when I ran for president. I ran on legalization of marijuana for that exact reason.
Well, slowly but surely, that's becoming a mainstream idea.
I'm glad.
I'm glad too. I mean, as a rabid pot user, I love it. I think marijuana makes you a more sensitive, aware person. It definitely makes you paranoid, but I think that paranoia allows you to understand all the danger in the world that you're probably ignoring.
Yeah,
your own
mortality.
Like
I was with Marge, Once I started smoking pot, then I got real paranoid of people, and that was a good thing. Yeah. You should be paranoid of people.
You should be aware, for sure.
Particularly if you watch cable TV, for Christ's sake. That ID channel with all those.
What are you doing now? Like, what are you going to do now? You were saying that you have some other things cooking.
I got 20,000 ideas a day.
Why don't you do something like this?
I got to focus into something.
Why don't you do this? Like something like this. So easy.
I thought about it, but you said you'd help me.
I will help
you. I just can't.
I
don't know how to write in a fucking password and turn this shit on.
Listen, you don't need that. We can get you connected to someone who can do that for you. That shit's easy.
I'd like to talk to other people who've fallen from grace and see how they get back up. But the real truth of it is that there is redemption. There is, and there's moving on, and there's like stopping the fight, and there's like, for me it was, I realized they're not my family.
Right.
My real family is, a joy to me. And so I got a great real family. I raised 2 good sons. And, of course, I want them protected from crazy women. For crying out loud. I over-modulate their dating lives, I know.
Do you? Do you filter them?
Yeah, you have to.
How old are your sons?
One's 40.
If my mom came to me when I was 40, tried to filter my dating life, I'd be like, Mom, I love you.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Well, that's because your mom ain't me.
That's true.
Because I go, no, this is, we can't have no bitches up in here. We can't. I can't take no second-class bitch telling me I'm beneath her. That's why I helped break up my son's marriage, because the way she treated me.
Oh, you had someone who's disrespecting you? Well, I would never allow that.
No, you're never going to fucking allow that.
You should never allow that.
And all my daughters, thank God, all their sons, they listen to me. They do what I tell them. So it's great.
So
I have good son-in-laws.
Well, that's good.
The one, though, he's a problem. He's from Russia. He's Russian, and on his wedding night, here's what he says to me. He goes,
Does he have a Russian accent?
Yeah.
Can you do it?
Oh, I can't do it. I'd try. Well, here's what he said to me. No, in this family, it's a bad, I know what you in this family, we do what the papa says. We don't do what the grandma says.
Oh.
I go, bitch, are you new? I go, okay, well, if you want to live a cursed life, go ahead. Live a fucking cursed life.
Put that voodoo on him.
Yep. I put that judo. Yeah, he's come around, though. I knew he would. Because they have a son, and he has ADHD, too, and but he's brilliant, and as all are my grandkids. And anyway, so they're those libtard. Oh, I shouldn't have said that.
Libtards?
No,
Yeah.
You can't say that. I'm
Can't
sorry.
say that anymore?
No, you're not to say that. I forgot. Because I'm old. I mix them up.
Who says you're not to say that?
Everybody says you don't say the T word.
Oh.
So
As long as you don't have a re before it, I think you're allowed to say it.
no, I don't say it
Okay.
in public. But no, I don't say it. But anyway, so the kid, he's bouncing off the walls too, like all my kids were. So I know how to deal with it.
Right.
I said, just leave him over here with me. I'll take care of it. So I did.
What'd you do with him? Just get him active.
Yeah, you get him active.
Get him doing stuff.
Exactly. I go, I bet you $100 you can't run up and down that hill 10 times in a row.
Ah, perfect.
See?
Yeah.
Got to keep boys tired.
Yeah. I guarantee I have ADHD. I have all those things.
Yeah, you probably do.
You just do stuff. Just burn it
Do
out.
stuff, yeah.
Burn it out, and then you can be calm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I think those kids just have a lot of fuel.
I do
They
too.
have a lot of horsepower and a lot of fuel, and it's all misdirected. And then
Yeah,
because
because they get in with the girl, and she start telling them what to do. See, I'm telling you. Once they get under the control of a female, see, they forget themselves.
Yeah.
Girls do it too.
Sure. They get into control of the wrong guy.
Yeah, you got to not get in control of nobody.
Of anybody. Right.
Yeah.
That's the key.
Autonomy and, what do they call it, sovereignty. You got to
Yes.
keep that.
Find somebody who doesn't control you.
Right.
Just accepts you.
Let you be.
Yeah.
Don't make you shower.
Yeah.
No, they have to make them shower. Oh, my God.
Well, you should at least suggest it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in a nice way.
Yeah, you should let them know. Yeah. What the fuck is going on with your smell, son?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
come from a weird line of women that like that man smell.
Oh.
It was gross.
That
My mom,
primal
she used
smell.
to always go over and sniff under my dad's armpits. It
Whoa.
was so gross. No wonder I'm like I am,
So when you were
She'd
in
go,
this...
oh, Tarzan.
Oh, she likes monkey smell.
Don't say that word.
Monkey? It's a
Yeah.
white guy. It's all right.
Oh, okay.
You call white people monkeys.
My dad was real dark.
How dark?
He was brown.
Brown.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it'd be problematic.
Yeah. She was real fair-skinned, my mom, so I've learned a thing or two, Joe.
I hear you.
But to me, all people look like some kind. I mean, I didn't say anything about Valerie Jarrett, but on the subject, I think people resemble animals a lot.
Well, we are animals.
Well, yeah, we are animals.
Yeah.
Like, I think I look like a beaver. When I look at my pictures, do you think I look like a beaver? Or a cat?
More like a cat.
Yeah, I can see myself as a cat.
More of a cat, I think, than
Yeah.
a beaver.
My kids think I'm real cat-like.
Yes.
Yeah. My boyfriend says sloth. Because I just lay there in bed watching the ID channel and murders and such.
Jesus Christ.
Serial
Why do you
killer
watch
shows.
those fucking things?
Oh my God, because I love how this character is put together. You know, writing characters.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you just like I like the forensics thing.
Right.
When they put shit together, you know, and they go, our perp is a our perp is a 40-year-old white man that lives with his mother, and he's probably was in the Navy. You know, all that Zodiac killer.
Right.
I love all that. I would have done that if I wasn't a comic genius.
I think the real problem with that, though, is that the more you study that shit, the more you live in that world, the less happiness you're going to find. I've talked to guys that...
What world?
The world of serial killers. The world
you mean
of
studying it or reading about it?
The actual people that investigate those people.
Oh, yeah.
They have a real hard time with life. They have a real hard time because they know too much. They know too much about the
Did you watch that show
nature.
Mindhunter?
I didn't watch that one, no.
Oh, that's about
really
John Douglas, yeah.
I've seen so many of those shows. I've read books on serial killers. And I've known cops that investigated stuff like this.
Well, after I had that thing with Marge, I got really into it. Like, oh my God.
But you realize there's some people out there they have a dark mind.
Yeah, they do.
They're capable of some fucked up shit.
Yeah, they are.
And if you're around that all the time, I just think your appreciation for it's one thing to know that it exists and it's a real, but it's another thing to let that enter into your view of the world and have it in there as a standard kind of behavior.
I guess it's wrong to do that, but you know, nothing else interests me.
Whew. Why is it interesting to you so much? Just because it's such a
I like
bizarre aberration?
I like how they get away with it, and they're like, "Oh, he was the nicest guy."
Yeah.
I mean, how they're front, you know.
Well, the Golden State Killer, right? You know that
Which
one that
one's
they
that?
just—that's the guy that was it. What he was called, the Golden State Killer
That they just
caught.
Yeah.
Yeah. That fucking guy got away with it forever. Patton Oswalt's wife, who died of a drug overdose, was actually investigating that.
She died of a drug. I thought
She died from fentanyl.
Oh, everyone's dying from that.
Everyone's
Prince.
dying from that shit.
Everybody's dying from that.
I mean,
where can I get some? It must be good if
that's what the Connors are trying to get you.
I don't know what
package will
they're
come in
going
the
to
mail.
do. I don't want to say nothing negative
How
towards
about they bring
it.
you back? You'll be like, you could be like from beyond the grave. You could give advice to people on the show. That'd be a great way they can kill you off and bring you back at the same time.
As a ghost.
Yeah, a ghost. You come to John Goodman in the middle of the night. What the fuck are you talking about? And
Yeah, you'd think they could
advice.
come up with something better than just
killing you off.
yeah,
it's very
than just
unoriginal.
letting it go.
Well, I think
I mean, they do have these movies about robots and other worlds.
they don't want to be connected with a racist.
I
but
know.
You're not a racist.
I
That's
know.
what's so fucking stupid about this. They had a #1 show, a great sitcom. It returns. It's even better. I mean, it's just as good, if not better, than it was when it first
Thank
came
you.
out.
I think it was a bit better too.
It was great.
Thank you. Well, you know, that was all I was meant to do. So, you know, I did it. I did it #1 after 20 years, 9
What about
episodes.
doing stand-up again?
I'm doing stand-up. I'm touring next year.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
bitches. I'm really, yeah.
Oh, shit.
And by then, my gag order will be over.
You have a gag order? Mm-hmm.
Of
How's that
sorts.
work? Can you talk about the gag order, or is that a part of the gag order?
It's a part
Let's
of
be
the
careful.
gag order that I
Yeah.
can't talk about.
Well, we
the
don't need to
gag
talk about
order.
it. Let's just talk
I
about
just
the
don't
positive
wanna,
stuff.
Yeah,
Let's talk
I
about the
wish
stand-up.
everybody. I just want to say I wish everybody the best. You know, I wish well for everyone on Earth. That's all I'm going to say.
When are you going to do stand-up?
Next year, 2019.
Where are you going to do it?
I can't remember what they said.
How
It's
you-
in the Midwest, all across the Midwest.
Are you writing already? Are you performing at all? I mean, are you...
I'm writing.
You're just writing?
Yeah.
And how are you going to do it? Are you going to start out at clubs? Are you going to...
I'm going
What are
to
you
do
gonna do?
theaters, casinos.
Do you have a framework of what you're going to talk about?
Yeah, I'm going to
Yeah?
talk about raising good sons and all that entails.
Are you going to bring someone with you on the road to warm up, or...
I probably should. I don't know. I was kind of saying I wanted to co-headline too. I thought to co-headline with Monique would be a blast.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, me and her talked about it, and that'd be fun.
Yeah, I mean, anybody. Just...
Yeah, just to get out there again and tell
Yeah.
my jokes. I really like hearing people laugh.
That'd be a great thing for you, too.
Yeah,
just
it'll make
do
me
it live
feel better.
again.
Yeah, do it
How
live.
long has it been since you've done stand-up?
Oh, I did it just before, you know. In fact, I think that's why I got so run down. You know, I got so run down when I, you know, this whole thing. I was so run down at that point that I had no B vitamins in my body.
How's it even possible?
Well, I mean, it was at a really low level.
Mm-hmm.
And the doctor said, that can cause psychosis. So that's why I go, okay. That's what happened to me, really. I was getting way out there in Salt Lake City, Utah. Anyway, after I did do stand-up all through Canada, and then I ended up in New York doing promo for Roseanne. And I just got too run down. I didn't watch myself and do what I should have done for my physical health.
Well, this time around, let's get you sorted out. Let's get you on some vitamins and get you a nutritionist and get somebody who's gonna, do some blood work on you and make sure everything's okay.
I get blood work done. I go to the cancer center at whatever that hospital's called over there.
Yeah, that's good.
I always have to have infusions every 3 months because I don't absorb minerals or vitamins.
What do you mean you don't absorb them?
Yeah, I had this gastric bypass about 25 so years ago.
Oh.
And I can't absorb minerals or vitamins.
Fuck.
And so I have to go get infusions every, when I get too down. And like I said, I was promoting the Roseanne show and also doing some touring in Canada. And I got too run down, and I think I had a mental collapse. I told the network, I said, obviously I'm not behaving in the right way, and I will check myself in and get my meds checked and make sure I'm, So I said, I have mental health issues, and, I said also I thought that woman was white, and it wasn't anything about race. It was about Iran. Right. And it was like, well, we'll see how this washes out.
That's what they said.
Ben Sherman, yeah.
We'll see how this washes out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and then 20 minutes later, Wanda Sykes tweeted, "Let me off this show." And then Sarah Gilbert tweeted shortly thereafter something about she was ashamed of one cast member. And that one blew me away. And Michael Fishman tweeted that he was ashamed of my racism or some shit. And that was hard to take. But it was because it seemed orchestrated because they used the same words, egregious, unforgivable. But in fact, it might have been offensive. And like when I was talking to Mike today, I said, we all say things that are racially insensitive at times. All of us do that. I'm a Jew. I've heard everything. And, or ethnically offensive to somebody. But that doesn't mean we're the KKK, okay?
Right.
That doesn't mean we're, fascists or, and especially if we apologize. Because most people who are offensive, they mean to be offensive and they don't apologize. And I think that's when there's a difference. And if you don't have the discretion to understand that, something's wrong with you.
Right.
And I think something's wrong with people, that they're so hateful and so unforgiving. And if you don't vote the way they think you should vote, that they feel justified in being so, so sanctimonious and self-righteous. And when they themselves are, kind of saying far more offensive things about people's children and such, for instance.
I think people are just cowards. And I think when things like this happen, they want to separate themselves from controversy and make sure that they're not a part of the people that are being attacked.
I can understand that.
I can kind of understand it, but I don't get it.
But that's what they do, And, I'm like, wow. They also get really, really upset when a few years later somebody does the exact same thing to them. Yeah. And what goes around comes around, and that's true, and especially true in Hollywood. The guy that fired me just was fired a couple weeks ago.
For what?
I don't know. His contract wasn't renewed.
Mm.
And his last words were, "Well, I didn't know I'd be forced to cancel our #1 show."
He wasn't forced to do anything.
Well, he might have been forced.
They're all fools. They should have just, first of all, they should have let the dust settle. Second of all, they should have examined what you actually said and what your intentions were and let you apologize.
Yeah.
And then have a conversation with you on one of their shows in long form.
You mean a teaching moment, such as if Valerie Jarrett would have accepted that?
Yeah.
I said I would like to debate her on the Iran deal and explain what I said.
Well, even that's not necessary. I mean, look,
Americans should know about that deal.
Well, maybe they should, but I don't think that's completely related to your tweet.
But it would have been a teachable moment.
Maybe. But it also would have been a distraction from what you were trying to say.
Well, they didn't let me say it.
Right.
And,
but to get involved, like, openly, politically, on a television show.
I know, that's dangerous, but Taylor Swift just did it.
Yeah, what did she say? Just get out and vote? But it
vote
was really,
for the Democrat.
Yeah, but wasn't that, like, it's almost abstract. Get out and vote. She's not.
No, she said vote for the Democrat. I don't like the Republican, Marsha Blackburn. She didn't like her, although Marsha Blackburn has been the author of a lot of great anti-rape laws and all kinds of stuff like that. But she didn't like her because she's a Republican. So she took a stand, a political stand. I guess, some people can do it.
Yeah.
But some people can't. And the political stand I took, which I just want to remind people, is that I'm an independent. That's my stance. And I just thought both sides had gone too far out and needed to talk to each other. So I came back and did a show about that.
Well, that's the stance you took with your show.
Yeah, and in my life, it's like if we can't even discuss things, that's really, really bad.
I'm sure
that's not American. We discuss and debate. We don't label and blacklist.
We certainly can talk things. And maybe that's something that you could have done once they had a conversation with you about your tweet. But, I just think that what they did was just very hasty and very foolhardy. And they should have known who you were beforehand. They should have known about your mental health issues. They should know. They should have known about your medication issues, all of those things.
They knew.
But this is what my point was. If you have a person with a broken leg and they can't run, and you get mad at them because they can't run, isn't that ridiculous? Well, if you have a person that has brain issues, and then they do something that's erratic, and you're mad at them for that, well, you're a fucking idiot. That's stupid. And you call them a racist or chastise them in front of the world so that you remove any possible negative opinions that could be cast your way. That's what a lot of it is deflection. They're worried about negative opinions and negative feedback that's going to come their way, so they immediately turn on you. They turn on you in a disproportionate way.
Well, they did cancel the show before even one advertiser had pulled out. It reminds me of Sarah Silverman's bit, I'm for against it. Remember that? I'm for against it.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of cowardice going on. There's a lot of people trying to save their jobs, and people panic because people are aware of the outrage culture that we live in. This is an outraged nation right now. It's one of our number one forms of recreation. People love it. They love getting mad at whoever the fuck it is. As long as you react the way they want you to react, ooh, they love it.
It's an inquisition.
Well, it's the understanding that people have way more power to affect change, whether it's good change or bad change. They're pushing buttons with social media and with outrage and with their ability to express themselves. It's unprecedented. There's never been a time like this in history.
No.
Where people
Salem.
The witch trials?
Yeah.
Right. Well, that was...
it's like, okay, well, if you swim, that proves you're a witch, and then we have to drown you. Wow. There has to be a loser. There can't be two winners.
Well, there has to be an understanding of what's happening here. And then people have to have an understanding of the power that they're wielding and what they're doing, and that it could turn back on them. And it will.
It doesn't ever just stop at one person. That's why I said I'm surprised that a lot more comics didn't defend me, because, this means that anything they find in your timeline that they think is offensive, they can mischaracterize and bring a whole battle against you that you can't possibly win and take your life's work.
Well, how many did defend you?
Nobody defended me.
Well, I did.
You did, thank you.
Stanhope did.
Stanhope did, yeah.
I
thought you meant on that were working with me.
No, none of them that worked with you. Well, everybody that worked with you wanted to keep their job.
Yeah, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them. They probably, needed the money and probably already spent it.
Well, the other thing, too, the sitcom life, that fucking schedule is ruthless. It's grueling.
But you know what I think it was? A lot of it was, I gave him the gun to shoot me.
Yes.
I wasn't a helpless victim, although I think my explanation either makes sense or doesn't make sense. But
well, if you're compassionate, it makes sense.
Yeah, but a lot of people aren't. But I forgot what I was.
I don't even know if they're not compassionate, Roseanne. I think they're scared. I think they're just chicken shit. I don't think they're looking at it in terms of like, I can't win here and I can't lose here. Let me just look at what's right. See, I didn't have anything to win or lose. So when I looked at it, I looked at you as someone that I admire, someone that I think is one of the best comics ever, who I know that you have mental health issues. I knew from talking to you that you were on Ambien, and I knew you had alcohol as well. I know what that does. My mom took Ambien. She woke up in the middle of the night and drew all over she had a bathroom rug, drew all over it with lipstick and nail polish. She said like a little kid. So she woke up in the morning, she had no idea she did it. She's terrified of that shit. She won't take it now. I have many friends that have had bad experiences on Ambien.
I have too, and I thought, well, they shouldn't have shut down that conversation like that.
They shouldn't have. It's a fucking dangerous drug for the wrong people in the wrong situations, especially when you mix it with alcohol. I mean, it's beneficial to people that need sleep in certain situations. I don't recommend it. I don't take it, but some people like it. That's fine. But to ignore what the actual pharmacological effect on the human body is ridiculous, because there's studies on this shit. And that people understand the interaction between chemicals and the human brain, and they're erratic. And especially when you mix them with things you're not supposed to mix them with. Weird shit happens.
Yeah, I thought that tweet, I thought I was going to expand on it in the morning and, talk about that movie and...
Too late.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, it
was too late.
But the whole thing is just fucking crazy.
They told me not to tweet.
Yeah. Well, it's probably a good idea. But now, honestly, the problem also with Twitter is fucking text is just too simple.
Yeah.
It's too crude a way of communicating. It really is. I mean, you can get across some ideas. Like you can say, hey, I went to see Littlefoot. It's a great movie. That's a good thing to tweet.
Yeah.
Real simple shit like that. But when you want to talk about like political things or things that involve nuance or things that are complex, I just don't think it's the way to communicate.
I don't either anymore.
No. I think it's a terrible way to communicate.
Yeah.
And I think...
it's not communicate. It's like, what did he say? Search and destroy.
Well, for some folks, yeah. There's going to be people that always want to make things crash and burn. They like it. They like hitting the buttons. They like hitting the buttons.
They like to see people suffer.
Well, they definitely are suffering themselves. Look, there's a giant percentage of our population that lives in misery.
I know it.
They do all day long, and they have mental health issues. They're exhausted. They're depressed. They have despair. They're overwhelmed with bills. They're in shitty relationships. They're overwhelmed, and they're angry. And they look at someone like you, a rich white lady, and they're like, fuck that bitch, and they just want to attack you. And it doesn't have to make sense, because it's a reflection of their own personal pain, as much as it's a reflection of their irresponsibility with this power that they're wielding through social media. And then there's the mob mentality. Yeah. There's a bunch of people that are already going after you. Good, I'm going to go after her too. I'm going to show the world that I'm not racist. You know how I'm going to do that? I'm going to shit all over this racist Roseanne. They don't care if you're really racist.
But the thing that gets me about it is I'm going to shit all over this Jew.
Yeah.
Because I was talking about Iran as a Jew and speaking about Persian Jews and, all kinds of Arab Jews.
Yeah, but you're talking about complexity.
It is complex. But I always was on there talking, defending or, speaking for Jewish people. And so, I think that in the long run, I really want it to be known that I am a Jew. And was speaking as a Jew, and when I spoke about the Iran deal and its effect on Jewish people in the Middle East. And I really thought first they didn't know that, but now I think, well, they had to know some of it.
I don't think they want to know. This is what I think. You say, someone says that's a black woman. Even what is she? 1/8 black? Like, what is she? Something very small.
46% or something.
Really?
Yeah. She had her DNA done and was talking about it.
Oh.
And 40-something really? Caucasian. And
it doesn't look like it. But whatever.
Whatever.
The idea
we can't tell who people are by how they look.
I'm 1.6% African.
Cool. Awesome. That's the heart of the world.
When you look at what happened, I think it's real simple. I think she identifies, or people identify her as a black woman. You said Planet of the Apes, racist.
Yeah.
Boom. It's that simple. I don't think they give a fuck if you're a Jew. I don't think they care if
Yeah.
you're not racist. I think this is a viable target.
Yeah,
and they
I
go
think
after
so.
you. And
Well,
then-
I said I voted for Trump, so
That
I
too.
was a target.
That too.
Yeah.
And then they could find a tweet from the past.
But
calling
let's
a woman
not
a
let's
man.
not forget either. Oh yeah, I got in trouble for that many times.
Yeah.
You know, there's just things you can't say, and then there's worse things that you can. So it's weird because they don't censor anybody who's calling for to kill all the Jews. There's thousands of them. They don't do shit about that.
They're not famous women with sitcoms.
Yeah, they are.
Who?
People that are tweeting support for Valerie Jarrett.
Who?
They're pissed at me and
Yeah,
saying,
but-
"How could you say this about
But they're
this?"
not saying that because they're saying kill the Jews. They don't maybe know what your point was.
Well,
or
then
what
I
you're
didn't know, like
implying.
I didn't know about her parentage. I mean, come on, this
Right.
is the truth. This is who I am, and they did
they're
this
not,
too.
But they're not really saying kill the Jews. It's not like a valid comparison. I don't think.
Well,
so.
I'm a Jew,
I understand that. But the people
and
that are
that's how it feels.
maybe it feels that way to you.
It does.
But the people
it
that
does
are
to a
upset
large
at
number
you,
of us.
They're upset at you because they think you said something racist.
I know.
They're not saying kill the Jews.
Well, but they are to us.
Okay, you see how when people look at your situation,
I can see how they think.
but you see how when people look at your situation and they think it's racist. That is also how you look at their reacting to what they think is racist, and you thinking that they're saying kill all the Jews.
Well, they're saying like Iran every day threatens the Jewish people in Israel with annihilation, and they've already survived. Not too long ago, an annihilation. So, and then we make a deal with that government. That does say something.
I understand that, but this is many steps past
But to me,
recognizing that you said a racist thing or thinking you said a racist thing.
I
and
understand that
recognizing
they think I said a racist thing.
Yeah.
I understand that completely.
They have no idea that this had anything to do with Jews versus Iran. They really don't have any idea. I've never seen that. I've never seen that registered by any of the people that are upset at you.
Because it's not important enough to them to know that.
Well, it's probably not been explained to them.
Yeah.
For one,
I know.
your position like this, like you're talking about now.
I understand
and
that.
They might not even think it's valid. Like if they went back and went over it, they might disagree with the political aspects of it.
Yes, and they're free to do that. I'm not going to try to ruin their lives.
But you know what I'm saying? Like they're not. The reason why I said it's not a valid comparison, they're not really saying kill the Jews.
But to me and to other Jews, they are in fact saying that, and that's very common amongst us. So that's the truth that many of us think, and people don't understand it or they don't care to even consider it. Well, they don't have to, but I'm still going to say it because that's the reality. It's the reality to hear that, and to hear that the United States went and gave them billions of our tax dollars when they're the number one supporter of terror in the world. It is, and they always do kill Jews, like in Paris and wherever else they go. They do it in London too. I mean, I hate to wake people up, but, it is important. At least it is to me and to people like me. And to many other people, many Christians, it's very important to them too. They're under onslaught too.
I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about, because you're talking about Iranians killing people in Paris and England?
No, I'm talking about being the number one sponsor of terror in the world, Iran.
But they're killing people in France and England?
Yeah, that are Jews.
When is this happening?
Well, that theater and a lot of other times.
But there's a lot of
They
people in
beat
that
that old
audience
Jewish woman to death in her Paris apartment. There's a lot of it. I'm not saying they only kill Jews, but they do kill Jews.
Okay.
And the money goes back to those terrorist organizations that are funded by Qatar and Iran.
Okay. This is a pretty. These are general things you're saying, right?
Yeah, it's very general, and there's 100 shades. There's 100 shades, but I'm just saying, as a Jew with a family in Israel, this is what we think and that this is how we feel. And to not even acknowledge that in any discussion and is kind of disturbing. And it should be factored in.
I don't think it's a matter of not acknowledging it. I think
but it should be factored in as well.
I don't think they're aware that this had anything to do with your motivation.
Well,
it's never been expressed. I've never read it anywhere, Roseanne.
You can't say it. That's why I'm saying it here.
You can't say it.
It's not really smiled on to go against the people who control our media and say, especially social media, and say that you're pro-Israel or, that you think...
you don't think that the media will allow you to be pro-Israel? I mean, that seems like a really common thing.
Not on social media, for the most part. No, it's very anti-Israel. I'll send you statistics.
Well, I see some anti-Israel sentiment, and especially in relation to the way they treat the Palestinians. Like, I see a lot of that.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to play into either of those because I really believe that, there's a solution to that problem. The solution is peace, and I think it can be achieved. So I'm not going to play either one of those games about who does this or what. I just like to see a solution that works for all the people there. All people there. So, but it can't be.
Would agree with that.
But it can't be if one side has been completely censored, and that isn't a discussion, nor is it a debate, and nor is it American. Right. Scary. It's scary times when like on our college campuses today. I know this because my son was on one, and it's a far left. There's far left professors that espouse that kind of stuff daily in all of our colleges, and it does find its way to the media. You look at the media that most, what are they called, millennials consume, and it's heavily to the left.
It is, yeah. That's
and so that's where they're forming they are getting their opinions from only hearing one side of things on social media, and I don't think that's good. Well, I don't think it's good that all conservative voices are being censored off Twitter. And not all. I shouldn't say all, but that so many are, because that's a way to shut down discussion too.
There's quite a few conservative voices on Twitter, but some are when they think they're inflammatory or they think they're espousing hate.
Yeah. But they get to decide that. But
right. You're right.
Who's deciding that?
You're right.
It's people who are heavily political.
Yes.
That's not right.
All tech companies lean left,
right.
all of them.
And it should be more in the middle where both sides are considered to come to that's what consensus means, is a diverse opinion, and that's how you reach consensus. You don't get a consensus nor a solution from only listening to one side blather on the same shit for 20 years.
Well, not only that.
That keeps people fighting at each other.
Not only does it keep people fighting, I think it recruits people for the other side. I think it does the opposite of its intended effect.
That's what one of my friends said. He said he thinks Michael Moore, that's Michael Moore's role, since he's a billionaire too, that he's
Michael Moore's a billionaire?
Well, they said, this is what they said, I don't know, but it's in that vein. It's like, well, he did get so many people to vote for Trump when he said that stuff about people are angry and they...
I don't think he did it on purpose. I think he's just...
But a lot of people credit him for voting for Trump for that speech.
Yeah, well, I'm sure. I
and
think
so my friend said maybe he's a double agent, which I don't think he is.
No, I think this is one of the things that happens when it's like... When you give people that much suppression and you try to indoctrinate people into thinking a certain way, there's going to be people that resist it. A large amount.
I hope so. It seems larger and larger, but freedom of thought is the basis of this country. It's not freedom of speech or freedom of religion and freedom of
expression.
The Second Amendment. Those are symptoms of freedom of thought.
Yeah.
And it isn't good to consume endless propaganda and never have it broken down or debated or pointed out that it's false.
There is an issue when you're only getting one side of the argument, and the people that are controlling the media only want that one side expressed. That is a problem.
Yeah, and
there's
the
no
thing
solution
is,
to that right now in terms of a right-wing version of it.
Well, because they won't let it happen.
But who's they?
The people that are in charge of programming the networks.
Well, it's
they don't
tech
want
people.
that.
tech
It is the
people
tech
seem to always lean left. I mean, technologically oriented companies
Yeah.
and corporations always almost invariably lean left.
Why do you think that is?
They're smart. They're educated. They're fresh out of college. The colleges are indoctrinating left-wing kids.
Yeah.
And, you have a vast majority of professors at universities all across the country
right.
that identify as Democrats.
Right.
So this is the indoctrination they get from people that they respect deeply and that they're learning from. And there's also an understanding that this is the way you advance. And then when someone comes out that has anything
well,
that
wait a minute.
deviates
You
from
said
that,
you didn't think that it has a brain center.
I don't think
you
it has
didn't
a
think
brain
it was
center.
coordinated.
It's not coordinated in terms of the government. I think what's happening in the universities is you've got people that are, first of all, they're existing in this bizarre glass-walled garden where they go to universities, they get indoctrinated into these left-wing cultures, and then they start teaching at universities, and they never get out into the real world. And then they teach children these thoughts and ideas. And then most of the kids leave, and they take these ideas somewhere else, and then slowly over time, they become more moderate, most of them do, or they reject those ideas and either go to the center or go right, or some of them stay left.
Yeah.
But when they go into tech companies...
Probably the most go center.
A lot of them go center, which is, I think, probably where sanity is. I think sanity
I
is
do too,
somewhere in the
right
center.
in the middle, yeah.
And I think
that.
discussion is critical. I have a lot of friends that are Republican. I have a lot of friends that are liberal. There's
Me too.
nothing wrong with either
Me too.
mindset. And the only way we find out whether or not we really agree or disagree is we let people express themselves.
That's right.
And as soon as you suppress that kind of expression, then you run into real problems.
That's absolutely right, and that's what I wanted on my show, is that I would show that there was a Trump lover and a Trump hater in the same house, and they managed to deal with it and get on with their life.
That's a great premise for a show, and it was one of the reasons why I think people loved it so much, is because there was that conflict. And because, look, people can love a lovable curmudgeon. People can love someone who has ideas that they disagree with. People can love someone who lives with someone who has a completely opposing opinion. They figure it out and they get along. That's fine. That's great.
I thought it was great, and my boyfriend said, your mistake is that you put a cramp in the hate business.
I don't think that's the case. I think that you became a target. You fucked up.
I don't think they were happy from the beginning. I don't think they really wanted me to come back.
I think there's a certain amount of that when they found out that you're a Trump supporter, and then the show became successful, and Donald Trump loved it, and then Trump supporters loved it.
Well, also they thought I was a troublemaker and a big mouth. They've always thought that.
Well, you're a comic.
I know.
And everybody remembers when you sang the national anthem and grabbed your crotch and spit on the ground.
I don't remember that. When did I do that?
When you do that gastric bypass thing, is that something they can reverse?
They could reverse it, but what the hell? Then I'll weigh 800.
Would you really, though?
Then I'll
But
be
at least
like Large Marge.
You wouldn't.
Yeah, I would.
Would you just
Hells
eat everything?
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, fuck yeah. That's where I had it, because I couldn't stop. Talk about addiction.
Impulsive, right?
Oh, yeah, all day long. Eclairs, what have you.
Just eat whatever you
loved
fucking...
it.
Yeah.
It was great.
I hate those goddamn things.
Eclairs?
No, gastric bypass surgeries.
A lot of people
have had it. I know they save
it.
people.
Yeah, they do.
But I just wish there was a better way. It's just because it fucks up your nutrient absorption abilities, like
it
you
totally
were talking
does,
about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that from several people. I know guys who've gotten in, they
and that
ate their
fucks
way
up
through
your
it.
mental state.
Yeah, I'm sure. Oh, for sure. A lot of it has to do with the health of your body, your ability to absorb nutrients. It affects everything: your mood, your energy levels, everything. I mean, food doesn't get in there the right way.
No. I just lay in bed till they called for me, and then I'd just stumble in, do my thing, go back to bed. I just had no energy.
Listen, Roseanne, why don't you do something like this?
What?
Like this this conversation.
I want to.
You could do this on your time, whenever you want to do it.
Yeah.
Without anybody telling you what to say or what not to say, without any executives, without anybody to fire you.
Well, won't they de-YouTube you or something? I mean, they kick you off everything.
They could, but I don't think they would. And on top of that, you could do it off of your own website. You could do it on roseannebarr.com.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm always afraid they'll, I just feel like, hey, this is the time of my life. I'm 66. It's probably the time for me to just lay low, do stand up sometimes. And
that's a great idea,
lay
too.
Lay low,
That's even better.
Yeah, I
Go
think
do
so.
that then.
And show some of my farming videos.
Yeah.
Because
Listen,
people like to know about how to grow food, and I'm really good at growing food.
when you do stand up and you go on a tour, I think it's going to be hugely successful.
Thank you
I
very
really
much.
do. I think people are going to come out in droves, and I think it's going to be awesome. And I think once you get your legs under you and you start doing a few shows and get things cracking again, you'll be like the Roseanne of old. You'll be crushing it.
I was crushing it, I have to say, in my tour of Canada. I was crushing it.
I'm sure
it
you
was
were.
a blast. I had, oh my God, I just had the most fun, you know.
Get
Like
back out there.
90 minutes of
Beautiful.
total control over, you know, bing, 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 and I got like a big laugh every 90 seconds. And,
Beautiful.
you know, I tailor it and craft it and love it. Love the people that come out to see me.
Good.
And
Then fuck
I have
everything
a really
else.
diverse crowd too, which is great.
Well, I bet it'll be even more diverse now.
Well, it's going to be way better, I think, because I'm going to really start talking about the real me, such as my abhorrence and fear of serpents.
Scared of serpents?
Oh, yeah, I always have been.
Don't go to Florida.
No, I won't.
Don't go to the swamps for sure. You heard about what's going on down there?
What?
With people releasing pythons
Oh, no.
over decades? You didn't know?
No.
Oh, Florida's overrun with pythons.
Oh, my God.
Non-native pythons, because people release them as pets and then they move to the swamps and bred. Yeah, they've eaten everything. There's almost no mammals in the swamps now.
Oh, my God.
They said 99% of all raccoons are gone. They couldn't find any marsh rabbits. They couldn't find any bobcats. And the pythons have started eating alligators.
Oh, shit.
There's thousands of them out there.
See, the world's gone nuts.
Crazy. Stay away from Florida.
I will. I had a turtle that kind of fell. Are we done?
No.
Oh.
I mean, we can be done.
Oh.
Or you can keep going.
Well, I had this turtle that fell in love with me and wanted to mate with me in Hawaii. It was so weird. No, this is for true. I've always been really afraid of serpents, okay? So I go in the ocean there, and my friends, they're like, don't touch the turtles. There's a $5,000 fine of something you don't touch.
Sea turtles?
Yeah, sea turtles.
Those big old things?
Yeah. So I'm like, you know, like I say, I'm a Jew. So as soon as I hear that, I'm like, yeah, well, fuck them. I'm touching it. You know, so I did. And then it went and started swimming around me. And then it went in this big circle. And its head came out of the water and it side-eyed me.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, Christ, it's the serpent I've been afraid of my whole life. And he chased me onto the shore. She goes, that's why we don't touch the turtles, because they bond with you.
Whoa.
I'm like, this guy wants me to marry him.
They
this
bond
turtle.
with you?
Yeah, if you touch them, they like you.
I didn't
They're
know
like,
that.
hey, she'll go for it. And it was terrifying.
I've seen them in the water. They're fucking cool to look at. They're swimming
They're
around
awesome.
there.
They're like a little Volkswagen with these 4 paddles and
Giant.
this serpent head
Yeah.
coming out and like this.
Well, they look so
Yeah,
prehistoric,
you're
too.
mine. That's how it looked. Like
They
that.
locked eyes with you.
Yeah, he did. Like
Looked
this.
into you.
Side eye.
Side eye.
You're mine.
Oh, if they go side eye, I'll know now.
It was terrifying.
Something to think of.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
I've never gone back in that water.
Well, yeah. I could see why that would be a problem.
And I have a lot of serpent things. And also, like when I see people, I can see if they're a serpent or not. You know how they say the reptilian? Like I told my kids, this is the hardest thing
Like
I've ever.
that David Icke type shit?
Well, I
believe
really
that?
do see him. No.
Really?
I sort of believe him. He's gone down a rabbit hole, that guy. Whew.
It's more like a gopher hole.
Somewhere real deep into the core of the earth. But
I don't think he talks about that stuff anymore.
no, he kind of laid it back. But
He gets
that's because
upset.
I confronted him. Dude, you've
you?
lost it. Yeah. Well, that's what I was doing on Twitter, too, is DMing people and going, you've lost it. It was fun. Like I did it. So I used to do these fake phone or crank phone calls before they got that star 69. And I was married to what's his face then, the oaf, and he came in the room there and he told me to stop doing it. And he looked at my address book, and I was calling General Schwarzkopf to do it to him. And he's like, you don't crank call General Schwartz, because I had all these numbers. Anyway, so what was I saying?
Crank calls. You would
Yeah,
call
I used to do
prank
that,
calls.
but then I went to the DM, on Twitter.
Oh,
and
that's the way.
Get like people like
Just get them riled up that way.
Well, I'll just go. Come on, you're losing it.
Yeah, what did David Icke say? He said that like all the big major world figures were like secretly reptilians.
Yeah, they're reptilians.
They're shapeshifters and
yeah.
shit.
And I told my kids. Here's what I told my kids. This is the hardest thing I'll ever tell you, and I didn't know, so I couldn't help it at the time. But I recently found out that your dad is reptilian. It's a joke. But, well, sort of a joke. But they are half reptilian. But I can see, like, people becoming the reptile. Like, I'll see them and their head goes up like this, like on TV. Their neck goes out like this, and then the tongue comes out of the corner to, like, go, like that. They do it. I see it on TV
like
all the time. Mm-hmm. I see that.
Like, who's a reptile?
All them devil worshippers.
Like who? Like
do you go to those devil worship parties here they're talking about in Hollywood?
I'll
They
tell you
got
what.
the devil worship parties.
I went to a wedding.
Was it a devil worship?
What is his name? Anton LaVey's son?
You did?
Yeah.
Was a devil worshiping up like a
This is what it was.
motherfucker like you there?
People call me a Satan worshiper now because of it.
Oh, my God.
My friend Duncan, this was like 15 years ago. My friend Duncan used to have this puppet called Little Hobo.
Mm-hmm.
And he would do this hilarious bit at the end of his comedy show where Little Hobo was his grandfather's puppet, and his grandfather died, and his grandfather's last wish was that he bring Little Hobo on stage with him one more time, and the puppet would come to life. There's Duncan with Little Hobo. Little Hobo was this fucked up looking puppet. It was a hilarious bit.
Oh,
and
that
so
sounds funny.
Anton LaVey's grandson, is that who it was, or son? Was getting married and asked Duncan to perform at his party. So me and a bunch of my friends all went to see Duncan perform at this bizarre Satanist party. It was very strange. It was in Hollywood. It was like there's a concert and Hank Williams III performed there.
Oh my God.
And it was kind of fun, but it was bizarre. And so there's like a picture with me and the guy, and people say I'm a Satan worshiper now.
You're not, are you?
Definitely not.
I'm not
there's
either.
Me.
Oh my God, you look like a Satan worshiper.
And I've got someone's
Which
shirt
one's
on.
you?
The guy on the left with the hair.
Oh,
Which one's
that
you?
don't look like you.
That's me. You got to get some better glasses,
I
Mama.
know, I can't see. I can't tell that's
Looks
you.
exactly like me.
Oh. Well, I can't tell.
But anyway, no, I promise you, no Satan worshiping, no worshiping. Period.
There's some real,
I'm sure,
crazy people out here.
there definitely really are.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't stay in with them.
I went to one stupid fucking party because of my friend Duncan. Fucking Duncan, get me in trouble, you son of a bitch. What else? What were we just talking about? We were talking about Satan worshipers. You were saying something. Oh, lizard people. So who's a lizard people?
The reptile folk?
Yeah. Who's?
Well, you
all
can
them
just see.
Satan worshiper
I
people you
can't
said.
say nobody's name,
Oh, okay.
but I'll tell you
does
what
it
to
rhyme
look
with?
for. I can't say. But if you really take a hard, long look at
Okay.
it when they're talking,
Text me some names.
watch for that neck going up and the head twisting, and then the tongue coming out the corner.
Okay. I'll keep an eye on it.
So you're saying
I'll keep an eye out for it. Well, listen, Roseanne, thank you.
Thanks for having me on,
This
Joe.
was a lot of fun.
it was fun.
I think people got a chance to see the real you.
Well, I just want to say to everybody out there before you kick me out of here, hey, I love everybody. I believe in one law for all people, and, I'm not any fucking backwoods idiot. Thank you.
You're not a racist by any stretch of the imagination.
No, I love all people.
And I'm happy you're doing stand-up again because, like
Thank
I said,
you,
I
honey.
think you're one of the best ever.
Oh, that's so sweet. Damn, that makes me happy. Thank you.
I really
Very
do.
much.
I'm glad you're doing it.
Thank you.
Roseanne Barr, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.